With the BBC News at 10, I'm Anna Preston. Police investigating the disappearance of Nicola Bulley in Lancashire say they're trying to identify a body found in a river close to where she was last seen. Miss Bulley disappeared in St Michael's-on-Wyre 3 weeks ago. Officers said formal identification had not yet been carried out. Our Home editor Mark Easton says it could lead to further criticism of the force.
If indeed it is Nicola Bulley, less than a mile from where she disappeared? I think people will be asking questions tonight about how it could be that after all those extensive searches, the police saying that is where she was, this river it's not enormous. It's not talking about the Amazon here. This is a small stream in parts. And I think there will be questions about whether the handling of that search was done properly.
The Cabinet Minister Penny Mordaunt has refused to criticise comments by Boris Johnson, warning the government against abandoning legislation that would allow parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol to be scrapped unilaterally. The Commons leader says the former Prime Minister's comments were not entirely unhelpful. A 7-year-old boy died after being struck by a car near Plymouth. The child died in hospital following the incident in Plymstock. A 55-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of causing death by careless driving. The anti-war film All Quiet on the Western Front has been the big winner at tonight's BAFTAs, taking 7 awards, including Best Picture. Best Actor went to Austin Butler for Elvis, while Cate Blanchett got Best Actress for her role in Tar. She described the film as potentially career-ending and thanked her director, Todd Field.
Every single day, every single person on set, without saying it, you said, check your ego at the door and let's attempt to make something magnificent. And for that, I thank you. It's changed my life. This is wonderful, but you have changed my life, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so, so much.
Football, and Tottenham have moved into the Premier League's top 4 after beating West Ham 2-0. Spurs assistant manager Christian Stanley took charge of the team, with Antonio Conte resting after gallbladder surgery. Stanley said Tottenham's players knew they needed to be more consistent to qualify for the Champions League.
We know very well that if we want to stay in the top 4, we have to be consistent in the performance like this. So it's very important to have many players, because in the next 20 days we have many matches, important matches.
Earlier, Manchester United won 3-0 against Leicester. The sports broadcaster Dickie Davies has died at the age of 89. He was best known for presenting World of Sport on ITV before appearing on Eurosport and Classic FM later in his career. You're up to date. It's 3 minutes past 10.
We are here, you are there, with Allan Beswicks.
Dickie Davies, God's gift to the moustache. Good evening. How are you?
BBC Radio Manchester.
How the heck are you indeed? I'm Allan Beswicks. This is the Allan Beswicks Late Night Phone In. We're here till 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're more than welcome to join us. All you've got to do is ring the number 0800 218 2255. That'll put you in touch with Kieran, who takes the calls, and then Talit will contact you to put you back into the programme, or back on air, and Jason will do all the buttons and dials, and then I'll do the talky bit. So 0800 218 2255. We don't do texts, we don't do emails, we don't do letters, we don't do anything other than phone calls. We are, in that sense at least, a traditional phone-in. The Allan Beswicks phone-in, as it turns out. Any road. The number, once again, 0800 218 2255. I'm going to sneeze. Yeah, that got that out of the way. I've just been tidying my desk and I got a bit of dust up my ear too. It's never does me any good. Anyway, 0800 218 2255. And last night, I mean, I know you love me and trust me. But last night, I must admit, I felt through the ether a hint of scepticism. I think you thought I was pulling your what's name. Well, I wasn't. But I think I just got this sense, that was all. When I told you that this year's big beauty product is going to be made from mushrooms. I know, I can feel it again now. He's off his rocker. I understand that. But I'm just telling you what I read. And I mention it now because I've just read that a bloke has made a surfboard out of fungi. Mushrooms. Exactly. They're very, very versatile, but you still can't whack an omelette. The Sunday People newspaper had a go at the Prime Minister's wife for taking the kids on holiday, whilst we all, as they said, shiver at home. Well, it was half term, and they don't just end their lives until the Prime Minister stops being Prime Minister again, which some predict isn't going to be that long anyway, but we didn't vote for Mrs Sunak, we voted for him. And he's the Prime Minister. She's just his wife. I'm not diminishing it, but she doesn't work for us. She's her own person. She can go on holiday whenever she likes. And still with the newspapers, one this morning, Lancashire police, who've not been out in the news for quite some time, but more than £500,000 has been spent by Lancashire police, according to the paper, on happy days. Well-being treatments for stressed-out officers. £500,000 on happy days, whilst simultaneously grumbling to the heavens that they've not got enough money to properly police the county. Money when spent? What? Money well spent? You tell me. And still with the police, California police dogs. Yeah, we talked about them last night as well, didn't we? What? California police dogs are being sacked because of their racist tendencies. Racist dogs. You heard it here first. Apparently, these dogs, when going about their business, bite more black and Latino people than they do white people. So it's not funny in the end, is it? But there you are. California police dogs sacked for being racist. In the words of Gin Royal, man's best friend, my arse. And a woman has, understandably, in my view, complained in the paper this morning that she's got no way to stop revenge porn her partner has put on the internet. It's utterly, utterly disgraceful. I mean, there's no world in which that is anything other than horrible. And to be the victim of it must be awful. Absolutely awful. And the person doing it, well, it's just disgraceful, sexist, cowardly, and cruel. What I don't get, and I'm not suggesting for one moment that anybody deserved it, but what I don't get was no matter how much they love their partner at the time, does anyone, man or woman, agree to make such stuff? That, I mean, you know, if your bloke or partner or whatever said to you, should we film it tonight, love? I don't know about you, but I'd wake up with a crowd round me. But what? Why does anybody do it? Given that none of us know the future, it's always possible. If you've been together 100 years, it's still possible that you may split up acrimoniously. And then what happens? It's just balmy. You see, in the past, when a relationship was over, it was over. But those days are gone. We can no longer say, that's it, finished, thank you, never want to hear from you again. We can't just fly away. Lyric, I guess, but it's a nice sound. It's a sort of soothing. It was a huge hit. Huge it was. Huge. Anyway, good evening, how are you? So am I. Excellent. 0800 218 2255. We're here till 1 o'clock and you can talk about anything. Let's get going. How do Keith?
Hello. South Korea has a toilet theme park. What about that for something different?
It's all right, but it sounds a bit crap.
Yeah, very well put. I got this boot from charity shop, 1,339 packs, but I only like a few of them, and these are a few of them, you know. Queen Elizabeth is descended from the Prophet Muhammad.
Well, that figures. I mean, we're all descended from somebody way, way back in time. thousands and thousands of years ago, aren't we?
Yes.
And
I suppose
the further you go back in history, the fewer people there were, and so we must be.
Right. And the last thing, Pakistan means land of the pure in Urdu.
Right.
I'll tell you I'm right with that one.
Well, he may well have told me that already, which is why I haven't feigned surprise.
Right. Right, I'll get off now.
All right then, bye-bye, thank you. How do, Poppy?
How do, my dear? How are you doing?
I'm awfully well, thank you.
The recent events in Merseyside, I won't mention the name out of respect. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, as soon as you start pointing us in a direction of suggesting that I might be able to guess, you're halfway to identify. But you started a question, so just ask that.
Okay, right. Would you feel that LGBT rights should be strengthened within the UK? Let me finish. Despite the fact that we are going towards a new era in sexual identity. That's a big question.
I'm not even sure what the question is.
The question is. Well, I've heard. I won't say rumours. I've been hearing people around the street, shall we say, that the government are thinking of taking the T out of LGBT via the Equality Act.
Well, first of all, the government don't have the power to take T out of the LGBTQ. That's just a series of letters put together to describe a variety of people. So the government can't control our language.
Okay.
The government
but they can control the law.
They are the only people that can.
Exactly.
And there is no plan that I'm aware of, but one is never aware of everything, to remove the right for transgender. Indeed, the current position is that they are refusing Scotland the right under their parliament, or their assembly, whatever it's called, but they're refusing Scotland the right to alter the transgender laws in Scotland, because by doing so it would impose an element of change on the British law. So that's the current story as I understand it.
But apparently that's supposed to apparently by the lady who's now left her position
in Scotland, if you're referring to the First Minister, she's actually still there until her replacement is elected.
I know what you're getting at, but I'm talking as a human being now.
As a what?
Not a human being, not a robot.
Well, I not for one second thought you were a robot, but I'm glad you've cleared that up anyway for those that had any doubt. Right, there we go. The one thing I learned from that was he's not a robot. And when I look at the intelligence of what he said, I rather wished he had been. How do Beverly? Hello, Beverly. How do George?
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yep. I've got one problem. I just want to know, Alan, why has King Charles got all these medals on him and he's never even been in a war? It makes me laugh.
Well, you don't get medals.
It doesn't know what a war is.
Well, you don't get medals for going to war. You do get medals for going to war, but you don't only get them for going to war.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit ridiculous. He's got them right across his chest. I mean, his two sons, his two, princes, the two princes, Harry and William, I think they deserve it because they have been in wars. like in fighting. And I admire them. I very much admire Harry, very much indeed, because he's a very brave man.
But I say again, you don't just get the right to wear a medal if it's a medal of valour. There are all sorts of other medals you can get. When somebody, I don't know, if Ringo Starr decided to dress up properly for a function, he would be entitled to wear a medal.
I don't like him.
Well, I'm not discussing your like or dislike of the individual. You're suggesting that people shouldn't wear medals unless they've been shot at. But I suspect Ringo Starr hasn't. I mean, John Lennon hasn't. Didn't do him any good at all. But you're entitled to wear the medal that you are awarded, and you get them awarded for all sorts of things every year. We all look up in the honours list for which, because there's always one, which what we used to call lollipop lady gets a medal. And then that lollipop lady, when she has that medal, is entitled to wear it. Yeah. So King Charles's medals are not for valour, they're for things that he's been awarded, like a knighthood. Well, he never got a knighthood because he was always above that, but some fancy order that he's been made a member of by his mother.
Yeah, I'd like to speak about something else too,
okay.
Alan, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course you can.
The other one is about, I'm disabled myself, I can't walk. I've got what we call a three-wheeler to get me around. But I disagree with the way they give these people cars and bloody scooters. I mean, that's why the DHS has got no bloody money, because they supply them, because you got to go to the doctors and get one. I mean, I could have got an ordinary one, but I could have got a mobile one off the doctor, but I've got nowhere to put it. I live in a middle house, and there's no way of me getting a hand in, and it might get stolen outside.
So if you were able to get such a machine and able to keep the machine, would you be in favour of them then?
Not really, Alan.
No. So the fact that you can't store one and park it somewhere safely isn't affecting your judgment as whether they should be available to people.
Yeah, well, I mean, the cars are going over the top. People get cars.
Yeah, it's under a scheme called Motability, and people with certain disabilities are entitled to get assistance in purchasing a motor car. In fact, they get a car for free, which is taxed and insured and all the rest of it, and all they've got to do is put petrol in it. but that's part of the scheme to make life easier for people who have what we'll call ambulant difficulties. In other words, who can't get around properly.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that something that a decent society should do? Help people who have disabilities.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're very good the way you do it, but I've got what you call a three-wheeler, and they're only about £40. I could have bought it, but the doctor gave me he put it on. But
hang on, I thought you disapproved of them. Now you're telling me you've got one.
No, I haven't got a. I've only got what you call a three-wheel.
Bloody, it's called a three-wheeler because it's got three wheels, but it's the doctor's got you this vehicle, three-wheeler vehicle, little it might be, but you seem to say, well, people shouldn't get something better than you.
No, I mean, they shouldn't get anything higher than that, I don't think.
Why not?
Like a car.
Why not?
I disagree with it, but...
Well, I know you disagree with it. I'm asking you why you disagree with it, that's all. Well, you're entitled to disagree with it. You don't have to approve of everything the government does, but why do you disagree with it? It's been around since the 1970s.
Because, well, doesn't the DHS pay for that?
Well, the government pays for it. It depends on various different bodies, I suspect, chuck money in the pot, but the government pays for it. The taxpayer pays for it. And if they get it free, then somebody's got to pay for it. Yeah. So who pays for it? The taxpayer does.
Yeah, okay, Alan, thanks very much.
All right. Have a good night. 0800 218 2255. We found Beverly. How do Beverly?
Hi, Alan. Hope I find you well.
You do.
Am I allowed to mention the Nicola Bulley case or not?
Well, there's no legal prohibition on it, but there's nothing much more to be said other than the discourse around the police conduct. And
right, I'll leave that then. What I came on for was last night you had people coming on about sciatica.
Oh, God, yes.
Is this the weekend of insanement? Anyway.
Yeah, I think it has been so far.
Our ills.
Indeed.
Anyway, I've come on to say, I know what sciatica is, and I thought I had it. I went to the doctors, and it turned out to be, I can't say this very well, fibromyalgia.
Yeah,
I'm not too well up on that. I think it's to do with the nerve endings, according to them.
Yeah.
They did the exercises and told me to walk where I could. I have to walk with a stick at the moment, you know. But, Alan, I feel for all those people who came on last night to do with sciatica, I do know the pain they're going through. I just don't know how it happens. How does it, you know, the body react, and is there certain things happening in your body and that?
I expressed my theory last night, and it never goes down too well when I do, but the human body is designed to be dead at 50. We're not supposed to live till 70 and 80 and 100. We're not designed for that. I mean, people say there's a lot more cancer than there used to be. Well, yeah, that's because the people who are getting it 50 years ago did have been dead.
Alan, I used to do 10k races and everything. I used to ride a bike every day.
Let me be brutal and say that your 10k races may well have contributed to your back pain.
Could have done. But I go back again. When I had one of my children, they had put this needle in the back of you to help you relief of pain. And it could have been anything, any matter of things, you know, including that needle when I had one of my babies.
Could have been also. I mean, you know, like the rest of us, you could just be wearing out.
Yeah. Okay, that was all I wanted.
All right. It must be horrible, by the way. I've had minor back pain from playing rugby. You know, when you get a kick in your back, and you carry it round with you for a day or two, and it's bloody awful. But have a good night. I'm not suggesting for one moment it's comparable, but it is awful. How do Shafik? Shafik, you can have a minute.
Good evening, Alon. The king is automatically 3/4 head. I like to talk about the President Putin. Putin, he was happy mood. His mood was very happy. 200 countries in this world. If Britain taking over France, nobody expect that. Russia is offensive. Is a first of all, Russia Putin thinking is Ukraine will be joined by NATO. Then his mind bad. Now he want to taking over all the Ukraine. Then people not expect the Putin. United Nations, you already member in United Nations, you member in UN Security Council. You know about the messenger in this world. Why not your mood happy? Is a Pope Francis is a mood happy. We are all happy mood. Don't make it trouble. Devil person Jesus.
That's your minute. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, that's good. How do Lindsay?
Hello. I'd like to talk about dogs, please, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I love dogs. Always have done, even since I was a child, about 6. And my favourite dog is Salvation. And I've always trusted dogs, but I was babysitting a Labrador, golden Labrador, dozy as anything. I thought it was. And it jumped on my bed the first night that I had it, and I said, Sasha, get down. Get down. Is it Gilbert O'Sullivan? And it went for me. and never trusted dogs since that day.
Right. Wise thing. How do Michelle?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Going on about your subject last night, you were on about people that own dogs. Why do they own dogs? To walk them, to clear up their feces. And you said the only good dogs are assistant dogs.
I didn't say they were good. I said the only ones worth having.
Yeah, they're worth having. Anyway, humans have always cleared up other animals' feces anyway. They clear up cats, they clear up animals in the zoos and kennels and everything like that, because we've never taught them to use the toilet and flush a chain yet.
No, we haven't, although I believe some chimpanzees have managed it, but it's not common.
Something nearest to us, aren't they?
The thing about cats is they go in somebody else's garden and bury it.
Yeah, that's another thing. So that's disgusting as well.
Well, yeah,
and you're saying you never
in
hear
my garden, so I'm not that bothered. I'm not doing it.
You say seeing someone else's, but you're saying about you don't hear about cats mauling people like you do dogs because people don't report it, I suppose. But I was mauled by a cat when I was about 7 years old. When
you say people don't report it, are you suggesting that a cat somewhere has ripped a baby's face to pieces and no one said a word? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I don't know that, but I was 7 years old when the cat did it to me.
Well, it is inevitable. I mean, go to Llandudno, you can be mauled to death by a pigeon. Not a pigeon, a seagull. So it is possible that an animal will do harm. What I'm talking about is the propensity of it. You don't get many weeks that go by without some kid being ripped to shreds by a dog.
Well, I think all dogs should be muzzled anyway, and I'm a dog owner, but there you go. So
you think they're dangerous as well?
Well, I've worked with dogs since the age of 13, so I've seen something.
So is that yes, you do think they're dangerous, or no, I don't?
Yes, I do.
All right, so there you are.
But I wouldn't leave a child with a dog anyway.
Very sensible.
I'm against that, because when you think about it, at the end of the day, it's a wild animal, and you domesticate it, but it still has that instinct. But you never can tell. But anyway, I'm changing the subject. I became a grandma again over the weekend to 2 twins, 2 boys.
Okay.
And also, a quick joke for you.
It's not your achievement, is it? It's your kids. They've done it.
No, it's my son's.
You're just a bystander.
I'm the grandma. Anyway, a quick joke for you.
Go on then.
A bloke went into a restaurant, and the wait just came over and said, "What would you like?" He said, "Can I have a beef burger?" He said, "Would you like a vegan beef burger?" He said, "Only if I could pay with Monopoly money."
That's fair enough, yeah. That's fair enough. A vegan beef burger is great, isn't it? I love the fact that vegans, not all of them, but organise food so it looks like meat, which is crackers.
My friend's daughter's one, and she has bacon, and she's a vegan. I went,
I know, bacon. Well, why? Yeah. I think it's because I think it's part of the dietary police, the political idea that we can't get people to stop eating bacon, so we'll give them strips of whatever it is that's made to look like bacon and might taste a bit like it, but isn't it? So it's trying to
what
get
are the
people...
chemicals that are in it?
Well, it's impossible to know. I mean, I tried that Quorn a couple of times and thought, it's not really for me.
Well,
it just didn't feel right.
My friend is a pescatarian. I said, "Why are you a pescatarian?" She said, "I don't like to kill animals." I said, "But you'd rather eat a fish that's drowned."
Yeah,
I said, "Don't get it."
Yeah, they die a slow and painful death, don't they, fish?
Yeah, that's what I said to her.
Or else they're cut open and their innards ripped out whilst they're still alive.
Or it's over the head or something. I said, you say you don't eat meat, cows and that lot for the way they're killed. I said, but you can eat a fish for the way it's killed. No, I don't get it. You either don't eat meat or you do.
But it's a value choice, isn't it? People are entitled to make whatever dietary decisions they can afford and that they think are correct, and that's fine. They're not doing anybody any harm.
No, I'm not knocking anyone for what they prefer to eat and stuff like that. But I just didn't understand why she said it's fish. But there you go.
Because she wants to. That's a good enough reason. Oh, wait, thank you. 0800 218 2255. How do, Graham?
Hi, Alan. How can I follow all this? Like, you know,
I've no idea. We'll find out. Give it a go.
Hey, it's a cracking show. It's a cracking show. And I forgot what we were going to say then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mentioned Quorn then. Quorn. Yeah, it's a quiet taste, I guess.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we've for millions of years we got what do they call them in front of your teapot? Teapot used to have cannibals, ripping flesh.
We still have them. They're called incisors.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah. And we still have them. We are by development, if you like, we're what's called an omnivore. So we're neither exclusive.
You might in Wales, but I've got. Yeah.
Omnivore means we're neither carnivore nor vegetarian. We have a varied and mixed diet, as quite a lot of animals do.
And you're an ice cream addict. You've not been interviewed tonight.
Well, I'm not an ice cream addict, but I do like it and eat a lot of it.
Well, I'm going to mention, like the old saying, like, don't mention a war. But, politics always comes in the equation, doesn't it? On your show. And anything what goes. So, like, it's always, everything's a serious note. So, with the Chinese and the Russians, I just been in public recently, so I've had a few, I've had a few jars, so I'm, like a lot of us do. So the Chinese are, according to the news, they're going to start. Well, it's escalates anyway. It always escalates. So,
well, it does until it ends.
Yeah. It's not like we worried about it anyway. I mean, we always been used to it anyway. My dad, like your dad, in the Second World War, my dad was in a big push. He was in the Battle of the Bulge, in the Black Watch. He had a Bren gun, and I didn't know till years later. I was been a construction worker and all sorts, anything for getting a book. And my uncle in Korea, and he said to me years later, I didn't know my dad saw Allison, bloody hell, that's a horrible. But when my old man, when he did talk about it, when he did, you get these you get a lot, lads. They got to open up about it as stuff. But you get some people, you get these romances and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And but my dad, when he used to smoke his condo pipe, and he said, I bet there's a lot of when and you know the story about the Battle of the Bulge, Alan, don't you?
I don't know it historically. I've read articles and seen a film about it.
Well, it's called the Bulge, isn't it? Because our lads and the Allies got complacent, and then Hitler were throwing the Hitler Youth and everything, the Bulge, and well, I'm not very well good at talking about it, but I'll digress. But and then Hitler threw everything to our lads and the Allies, and the Hitler Youth and everything. What a horrible thing to go through all that,
Mm.
And my old man, by the way, it sounds like my old man, and all that, and Irish descent, Irish Scottish descent, and the harmonica, play the harmonica and sing whistle, and
but he didn't came over after the war went over in 45. It was 47 when, because Checkpoint Charlie, the Cold War kicked off then.
Right.
So so he didn't. And I always, Alan, it's good to talk to you, mate. I spoke 5 times, and I put bits down on me because I don't want to ramble on. Because there's other people waiting. It's been really great talking to you, and you're a top man.
Okay, well, that's kind of you. Thank you. Have a good night, Graham. I'll do Anthony.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Beswick. Maybe you can put a suit on for Top Man and do an advert or 5 for them. If you get fired by the BBC later this year.
I very much suspect that any clothing company would rather not have photographs of me wearing their gear. And I can't say I blame them. Go on.
Anyway, the sensible point I just wanted to make is, I've lived with dogs since the mid-60s, and it really depends how well you train them. There's no such thing as a race. I was kind of laughing when you were saying this. I haven't heard this until you mentioned it earlier this evening. But racist dogs. And I thought, no, it's your handlers. Or owners.
Well, indeed. But if you're a police force and your dogs have turned out to bite more people of colour than white people, then, have a word with a handler and change the training of the next dog, but get rid of the one that's dodgy.
What, the handler or the dog?
Well, I'd say both, but definitely the dog.
Yeah, no, it's a bit upsetting. I mean, I think one of your earlier callers said you should never leave a child. I think that was the lady who was looking after a Labrador for 3 days. And just because she wouldn't allow it on the bed, and then it turned on her. And a Labrador's quite a big dog. It can do some serious damage to you. Well, I just thought, you don't leave dogs alone, any dogs alone with children.
But that doesn't negate the risk. I've told this story before.
Go on.
A chap I know had a very nice, friendly Labrador dog, fully grown, well trained and all the rest of it. And there were people in the room, they were sat there and the kids were there, and a kid was eating a lollipop or a sweet of some kind on a stick, and the dog saw it and decided it wanted it. And as it went to get it, the child moved, and instead of biting the lollipop, the dog bit the kid's cheek, and the kid now has a scar for the rest of its days. And I just think, why take that risk? I mean, we're not talking about a savage animal here. We're talking about soft-mouthed Labrador. And we're not talking about it being left alone with a child and the child poking it with a stick and all the rest of it. We're just talking about it. Oh, there's a lollipop. Oh, brilliant. I want that. Oh, blimey, I bit the kid. Why risk it?
Well, Labradors are known to be quite greedy animals, food-wise.
Is this your explanation of why it's a good thing?
Oh no!
So what you're saying is the lovely, cuddly, gorgeous, comfy, soft-mouthed Labrador is greedy and would take a bite out of a kid if it had to. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I think
I'm trying to work out what you're saying when you say Labradors are known to be greedy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying I wouldn't have any dog. I haven't personally owned a dog in my adult life. I never would do, Right. Or any other animal that might do damage to me or anybody, children or anybody else who might visit my house, and you just think they're germ-ridden and they're full of worms. So you've got to take them to the vet, and the veterinary fees are hit about £700 these days to get them sorted out and all this kind of stuff. I've just been in New Brighton today to do a bit of shopping, to meet a girlfriend, and
well, we were all desperate to know that. Oh no, we weren't. Never mind. Have a good night. Have a good night. I'll do Rick.
Hello, Mr. Beswick. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
2 quick points. I was given a piece of paper from a certain, I won't name the place. I've had that in possession in me for 2 months. How do I get that into another establishment with proof? Well, I've got a birth certificate. I've got no passport. So how can I get that before it runs out? This valid piece of paper with just a little bit of money. It's not a lot of money, but I need to be opening another account somewhere.
I don't understand. You were given a piece of paper. Do you mean a check?
A check. That's one. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do I?
Well, if you haven't got a bank account, it isn't entirely simple. But you can. You would need somebody who has a bank account, and they can simply get you to sign the back of the cheque, and then they can deposit it in their account, and then when the money clears, you'll get the money off them.
Okay. Right, that's that cleared up. As long as it's trustworthy person, the family's gone, so I can't just, unless I know somebody who's genuine, rather than go, oh, that's my money, not yours. So it has to be someone who can trust. So unless there's another way. Not a good time in a minute.
There are businesses who will buy a cheque off you, but they charge a hefty fee. So if you've got
no. Yeah.
Well, I was offering you another process by which to do it.
Yes, I quite agree. Thanks for that. Yes, I will. That's what I told you. If you take it, it'll take a bit of commission. And it's good incentive, but it's a bit like you can have so much out of this cheque, and we'll give you the money and take some percentage off. So that's. I'll bear that one in mind, but however, I might get it to be, before it gets invalid, which means I'll lose the amount, which is not a lot, but it's the principle, Second one is respecting people, like being kind to people, not nasty. I think that due to COVID and other things, we used to be nice to each other, now we just don't like each other, and some people just don't get on with you, and I've got nothing against other people, it's people like out and out war with each other, like egos and stuff like that. It's nice to be nice, I believe. I
think that state of affairs existed well before COVID, but that might have added to it.
Yeah, but it's not fair. I mean, it's nice to be nice. I mean, some people go, good morning. Am I obliged to say good morning to them back? Yes, it's called manners. Some people don't,
You're not obliged to. You see, I say hello to people as I pass them by when I'm out on my walk. But if they don't respond, I don't think ignorant pig. I just think they've got something else to do with their mind.
Yeah, but it's nice, it's nice to acknowledge and say, oh, thank you. It
depends. I might say to somebody, good morning, how are you? And they say, well, my wife's just died. Oh, well, that's why you're not, So we don't know what they're living with. So when you say good morning and they don't reply in a breezy fashion, then that's their right. And if you're going to want to respect people, then respect them for their privacy. They don't want, at that particular moment, your invasion.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Beswick.
Have a good night. 0800 218 2255. I'll do Bob.
That must be me.
If you're Bob, it's a good chance, yeah.
That's me. Well, I was going to say something else, but I just thought I'd tell a joke now, because I'll get very, very nervous on the phone. Is that okay to tell a joke?
Well, it depends on the context, but in principle, yes.
It's not a bad joke. You might like it. Some of your listeners might like it. Well, they were going to make a statue of Maggie Thatcher out of wood. Right. But the lady is not for turning.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I like that. Yes.
Kinda. Oh, no,
I do, yes. I'm not sure you can make. I'm not sure you can make a statue out of Margaret Thatcher on a lathe, but it's on the edge of funny. I like it, Graham, Bob.
I don't know what a lathe is.
Thank you. You don't know what a lathe is. It's where they do turning. How do Carl? Hello, Carl.
It's hard work when you pick it.
Hello, Carl. Hello, Carl.
Hello?
Nice of you to respond. What would you like to talk about?
Oh, I'm basically, right, I'm ringing up and I need to tell you this story. It's like, it's my friend and it's her colleagues' family members. And basically what it is, they go across the channel on holiday, like, and they drive through. But last minute, the grandma of the families wanted to go with them. So they snuck her in to France through customs and that. So she's there on holiday and they're all happy, loving life. And the next minute, the grandma dies while they're in, like, France. So the family's falling apart at the scenes. They don't know what's going on. Obviously, they've trafficked her through the country and they shouldn't have done. She's died while she's been over there. So they've been in the house to try getting themselves together and sorting their heads out and that. And then he was going to drive back the next day. But when they've got up, the van's been stolen. So they've got no van, no grandma. They're in France. Where to go with that? Do you know?
Well, for the lost van, the stolen van, the cops.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what is that family going to do? What have they said to the people back home? Like, oh, my grand's just decided to stay in France. And then you've got to think of the people who've nicked the van. Are they turning round and finding the body in the back?
Oh, right. So, well, I wasn't aware that the gran was in the van in France.
The gran was in the van. This is what I'm saying.
Right. Well, serves him right. Have a good night. I know what you mean, yeah. I still think you bar me. Have a good night. 0800 218 2255. They smuggled their van in a van to Fran. If you'd gone to Italy, it wouldn't have been as funny. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. Perhaps they did so pure. Tony.
How are you? Okay.
I'm very well, thank you.
Dirty old town, Salford.
Fabulous.
There we go.
Great song.
It's not so dirty anymore, is it? It's not so dirty anymore.
No, it's not anymore, no, but it was when the song, or when the essence of the song was written. It was written by a guy called Ewan McCall, who came from Salford.
I think he was the Pogues, wasn't he? Was he in the Pogues?
No, he was a singer-songwriter in folk clubs.
Oh, I thought he was part of the Pogues.
No.
But that's bad lie. We were all living in that. I have for 70 years. Bronchitis, smoke, chimney top park in Salford. But now it's all suddenly, all London wants to come up here.
Yeah.
What's all that about? Why do London want to move up to Salford all of a sudden?
Because it's a better life.
Good on you. A better life. It's cheaper life.
Well, it's a cheaper life, which means you can afford more things than you would if you were in London. I can tell you the tale when the BBC was deciding to move lots of stuff to Media City in Salford. They wanted to encourage people working for the BBC in London. Whole departments were moved up to Salford, and in order to encourage them, they brought some of them up on the train and put them on coaches and took them round the area and saying, look, it's not what you think it is, this is Salford. And they took them to South Manchester, so some of the nice bits there, and they said, where do you live at the moment? They said, I live in such and such a place in London. How much is your flat worth? 250,000. Look over there, that 5-bedroom detached house, you can have that. And people went, what? Well, quite. And then we had a young lass who came up. She used to work on breakfast telly, and I was doing breakfast for BBC Radio Manchester at the time, and so we were making coffee or whatever, we'd bump into each other, and I said, how are you getting on? You've moved up from London, how are you enjoying it? And she said, well, I go back every weekend, and go to the clubs and that with my mates, and then come up again on a Sunday evening. And then after a couple of weeks, she said, well, they've made me work weekends, so I can't go. So I went out in Salford, in Manchester, and she said, I absolutely loved it. And a few weeks later, all her mates came up, and they all went out on the Raz in Manchester, and from then on, they were queuing up to move. Her mates wanted to live up north because it was cheaper, it was friendlier, it was closer, and, in her words, you can go out into Manchester, you can have a good night out, and it's £5 for a taxi home.
That's it. That's it, Alan.
So that's part of the reason. And, we've got the mountains just over there. If you're in London, you want to go to the mountains, that's a 4-hour drive. You've got the mountains just over there. You've got the sea just down the road, So it's fabulous.
Alan,
so that's why.
Alan, what I'm worried about is to bringing the London prices to Manchester. We can't afford. They're making Manchester like London.
Well, if you improve anything, anywhere, stuff gets more expensive.
So why should we suffer that?
I would say you're not suffering. Some people will be, but if you've got a house, then the value of your house is growing more quickly than it would if you were just relying on the local market. And all those jobs coming. Well, pensioners too. They're not going to move to better houses, but if they've got their own house, it increases in value. They've got more to leave to their grabbing kids. Also, of course, it brings up lots and lots of work. There are now hundreds of people, literally hundreds and hundreds of people working at Media City, and all of those people live round here, spend money round here, which keeps shops open that would otherwise close. So there are benefits. There's a downside too, but there are benefits.
Alan, are you listening?
I listened from the first word. I didn't need the other 15 Allans, but do carry on.
I was on...
Tony. Pardon?
I'm on £2 a pint. Now, the Londoners come, it goes up to £6 a pound.
Well, drink in a different pub, mate. Good night. How do Trevor?
Sage advice.
Indeed so.
Good evening, Alan.
Good evening.
Your cup runneth over. I've got 2 cryptic crossword clues for you.
Go on.
Dawdle like a worker in clay, 6 letters.
It's not sculptor, that's 7, isn't it?
It is.
Don't know. Go on.
Potter.
Oh, very good. Yes, okay. Yes, Potter.
And medical man gets to the right vehicle, 5 letters.
Go on. Don't know.
Motor. As in MO2, right, if you see what I mean.
Oh,
motor.
God. Yeah, go on. All right.
I've got a Dear God story, you might call it. I've adopted that, and I think you got it from your dad.
I did, yes. That was his expression of many things. Dear God.
Exactly. Well, I think this comes under that category. A pair of underpants worn by actor Brian Cranston in the TV series Breaking Bad is expected to fetch $5,000 in auction.
You just hope he's not been breaking wind.
But it did make me wonder how much a pair of underpants worn by celebrity radio presenter Allan Beswicks whilst presenting the phone-in would fetch in auction.
Well, as underpants, not much, but as a couple of tents, you'd have to supply your own poles.
Dear. Right. So the second lighter story I have is from the natural world, as it were. The world's oldest European hedgehog lived to be 16, apparently called Thorvald, possibly because Danish scientists were involved, beat the previous record by 7 years. So previously, the oldest known European hedgehog got to 9, and Thorvald got to 16. And apparently, scientists can determine the age of hedgehogs by counting lines in their jawbones, which is an intriguing piece of information you may or may not want to store away. And I also quite like the heading, "He was as old as the quills."
Oh, very good. Yeah, it's very good. There was a joke years ago in the Beano.
Oh, yeah.
I've always been one for current affairs. There was a joke in the Beano, and it was a teacher saying to a pupil, "How do you tell the age of a turkey?" And he said, "You eat it, sir." He said, "They haven't got any teeth." He said, "No, but I have." I don't know. It's quite funny.
It's not bad. If I've time, I've got 2 slightly more serious, much more serious stories briefly. One does relate to the Nicola Bulley story, but only tangentially, in that I'm talking about the press and a response to one particular officer who at the time was leading the inquiry. I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a detective superintendent at a press conference, and 2 journalists, and I use the term loosely, criticised her for what she was wearing, her hair, her shoes. One of them asked the question, "Is she auditioning for Love Island?" And another columnist, who apparently writes for the same paper, no prizes perhaps for guessing which, accused her of exploiting the situation to showcase her physique. And I thought, for heaven's sake, what are these people about? I was just mind-boggled, really.
Yeah, and everybody's overstating it, but an awful lot of people, journalists included, made exactly the same point, that just outrageous, it's disgraceful. But tabloid journalism serves a particular audience, and it's not something I like either. But there you are.
And the second one refers to the recently appointed deputy chair of the Conservative Party, Lee Anderson, who was in the news a week or so ago with his support for the death penalty, and now he's having a go at refugee charities, and in particular those who are working in Calais. And he described them as just as bad as people smugglers, fueling channel crossings in small boats. And again, I'm a little staggered. What they do in Calais is provide what you might call humanitarian aid. They organise some activities, and they provide, I think, a certain amount of food and hot drinks and so on. And they've said in a statement they offer no assistance whatever and no encouragement either to refugees to make dangerous journeys to the UK, but they do campaign for safe routes. And again, I thought, this is, how can you conceivably compare a charity that think is trying, certainly in its own view, to do good with volunteers, with people who make large amounts of money by putting people in dangerous circumstances, getting to Calais and across the channel in dangerous boats? How can you compare the two things, Alan?
Well, it isn't, people have strange minds. Particularly somebody who used to be a staunch Labour supporter.
Indeed.
And is now a Conservative supporter. So
yes.
One wonders. It is often said that converts are the most zealot of people.
Yes.
But frankly, I don't think there are many in the Conservative Party that would hold his view. They would hold and agree with his objective that we should have fewer illegal immigration and all those sorts of things. There are many people who hold that, and it's a perfectly legitimate view, but I don't think many of his co-party members would agree with his comment.
I mean, the other thing he did was he went on seemingly to attack hotels, presumably because they're making money from the Home Office placing people in them, and lefty lawyers, of course, which is a usual line of attack. But I did note this time he missed out judges who have previously been the object of criticism from the right. You'll remember the Enemies of the People headline, and the RNLI, the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, who have also been criticised for their work in rescuing people. He didn't include them this time around, but still.
No, indeed. I mean, you know, there are some levels to which it would be utterly stupid. I mean, he's just got the job, you know.
And I think it's fairly clear why he's got the job, in that he'll come up with what many see as provocative statements, but which may appeal to a certain section of likely Conservative voters, I suppose.
Hard to know, isn't it? I mean, you know, he's appointed by the leader, and we'll see whether that has any benefit or consequence.
Indeed so. Thanks for the chat, Alan.
Cheers. How do Allison?
Hello.
Hello. Yes?
It's hello, Alan. I've spoken to you before, and many times before, and I've got your autograph, a picture of Kevin Fitzpatrick. But my conversation tonight is about Nicola. And Nicola, why have they all just found the body now?
Well, I think I know which Nicola you mean, but are you talking about the lady that's gone missing?
That's right, Nicola Buckley.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the body's been put there.
Well, we don't know that's her body yet, so we have to stop it there. I mean, nobody's saying it isn't, but until it's identified, we don't know.
No. But the police have searched the area before, and why not, unfortunately, found this body before? It seems a bit suspicious, a bit too obvious why they found this body now.
Well, there could be a lot of reasons for that, and I don't know what they are, and for the purposes of this conversation, it's not material as to whose body it is. And the police have found a body, and we've been led to believe that they've searched the river in the proximity to where she went missing, the woman went missing, so whether they were looking even if they weren't looking for her, if they were searching the river for a body and they didn't find that one, that needs explaining. And your suggestion that maybe the body has been put there since, well, the post-mortem will tell us whether that's the case, because the longer a body is in water, it will it will decompose at a different rate. But to suggest that somebody's put the body there, well, if I wanted to hide a body, what I wouldn't do is hide it where I knew the police were searching.
Because what I'm thinking, Alan, is that they know that the police are wrong. And all the publicity and the police and everything, but the police confirming what she confirming that what she was dealing with mental issues.
Well, we can't. I mean, what the police said about the private life of the person they're searching for was in many people's eyes unacceptable, and some people said it was just to cover their back. And if that's the case, it is utterly disgraceful. But it's difficult to have a conversation, really, because they have found a body, and it's not a massive leap of the imagination to say we know the name of the former name, I suppose. We know who the individual is, but we can't say that until it's been properly established.
Do you not find it quite strange yourself, Alan?
Strange? I don't know. I'm not informed sufficiently I mean, it's all very well saying they've had divers down there and all the rest of it, and they have. But as soon as you get 3 or 4 foot away from the surface of water, it's darkness. And
but Alan wanted that, why now? When they found that body, all the divers going in all them days, when they already found the body, why now?
Well, because you only ever find it when you go to the place where it is. And sometimes you... Listen, there are bodies that have gone missing and they've been found months later. Months.
But why now?
Well, I've just answered that. Now, because they have finally found it in the place where it was. Now, you're suggesting that they've looked in that place before and it wasn't there. Now, that might be true. Imagine you search this stretch of the river and you don't find anything. So then you go to the next stretch of the river and you don't find anything. But it is possible that the body was elsewhere and it moved with the river's force. There are all sorts of reasons, but the questions as to why it's taken so long implies that it was there all the time, and we don't know that yet. We're scratching round for answers to questions that are not available for answers yet.
Right, Alan, what I'm saying, but don't you think it's a bit suspicious that they come out with these allegations, the police, about mental illness, alcohol, what have you? Well, and then now mysteriously the body's turned up.
Well,
and they've been
hang on a minute, Alison. The implication of that is that the police had the body all the time, and now they're getting some flack. They've thrown it in the river and said, "There, I told you." I mean, I'm not accepting that, Alison. That's just ludicrous.
But the body, they're saying the body turned up. Well,
we don't know, Alison. We don't know, and the way you're thinking is going, I think, is unacceptable. But it's your thoughts and you're entitled to them, but I don't have to listen to them. Good night. How do Paul?
Yeah, Alan, just before I get on the topic, just shame on all them people who slag the police off. Absolute shame on them. These commentators and so-called ex-coppers and all that.
Why?
Let the bloody police get on with it. That's what they pay to do, and that's what they train to do.
But they're
Let them get on with it.
But they're also public servants, and therefore it is the public's right to question what they're doing and criticise what they're doing. That's called freedom of speech.
What we're talking about, somebody who's missing, and has got this poor family who's been missing the mum and 2 kids, and people are speculating this, and they should have done that, and all this. They can do that after. Let's just find her. And we're hoping to find her alive and get her back to her kids. That's not likely to happen now, but...
Well, one of the great problems of free speech is everybody agrees with it until somebody says something they don't agree with.
Yeah, last 2 weeks it's been embarrassing putting some of Sky News on and stuff like that, and all these so-called specialist experts' opinion, this and that. What a load of claptrap. Let the police deal with it. They know what they're doing.
Well, as somebody said on Radio 4 in a conversation this morning, they're searching a river, but I don't know whether you've been to St Michael's. I have. I went to a nursery school there a long, long time ago, and it ain't the Amazon.
No, but in parts it is actually goes deeper, doesn't it? And like you just pointed out a minute ago in your speech.
My presumption is, stupid though this may seem, that when they send a frogman down, he goes to the bottom, however deep it is.
It's
so
pitch black, like you just said a minute ago.
Well, that's their job. Their job. They go in there looking for guns, for crying out loud. They're not 6 foot tall. They're like a foot square at the most, and they go looking for guns, and they find them.
That's their
why
job.
The police is in a state, isn't it? Though, like, I'm off topic here, but that's why the police is in a state it's in, because people are constantly slagging them off.
The reason the police is in the state it's in, well, not me for a start. The reason the police is in the state it's in is because consecutive governments have cut their funding, so we've got fewer and fewer of them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. Anyway, I'll quickly move on to the main one. But I've seen grandkids a few times now in Oldham playing Sunday morning football. Do an article on TV recently about video cam, for body cam for referees at that level, to trial it at that level. Now, what I saw this morning, the referees, they probably need stab vests as well, because of some of the hassle they get, and it's not just off the kids. The parents on the side are berating them and shouting and pouring abuse. It's no wonder the kids have got, no respect for the officials. And then I look at last week, I watched some great games of rugby on telly, and even overnight, them blokes playing rugby, they don't question referee. They get on with it, you know what I mean?
Well, that's because if you do question the referee and you're not the captain, you can be sent off. So there was a case there. I was watching a game today. It was only it was a minor competition in many ways. A Welsh club team versus an Irish club team, and somebody said something out of our earshot, and the referee called the captain over and said, he just said such and such a thing to me, and if he does it again, he's going off. And the player then came over and said, excuse me, and he said, I've spoken to your captain, now go away. And he just walked off, because he knows the next step where he said, I want to tell, he'd have said, get off. And if that happened in football, if referees had the power to send people off for dissent instantly, and just say, gone. If you're refereeing a rugby game and you think the referee has made a stupid error, then you tell your captain, and the captain respectfully goes over to the referee and asks him why that decision was made and calls him sir. And referees in rugby make as many mistakes as do the referees in football. But
so why the different mindset? Why can't we integrate the kids then into that way of thinking?
Well, because the kids emulate their heroes, and the heroes are those gobby get millionaires on the telly. I
think it's worse since that VAR's coming. Since that VAR's coming on the television.
It's not got worse. It's not got worse.
Running about, freaking out.
It's been crap for years. The discipline in footballers is ghastly, absolutely disgraceful, and the reason it is because they get away with it.
I
promise you.
I used to run a pub team in 80s, Alan. I run a pub team in 80s, and they were a pretty rough set of lads from Oldham, and we never had them problems. And they did, come on, ref, what have you, but they weren't insulting them and calling them vile names and people on the sidelines threatening people and that.
But that's where it begins. That's where it begins, you see.
Yeah.
All those years ago when they just said, oh, come on, ref. If you do that in rugby, the ref says, don't talk about me. You're not even supposed to talk in my presence. Shut up.
Would it be possible to do that thing then, that yellow card thing then, where you're sending them? Like, I saw that happen over the weekend.
It'll only be possible if they change the rules. They change the rules, the clubs will vote against it. They will fight against it, because it might cost them a few quid, and everybody knows that professional football is just a business.
But wouldn't it be good, though, to send them and say, even kids...
Well, I think so.
For 10 minutes, and then the coach can calm them down and say, look, you're letting your mates down on the pitch because you're not on the pitch. You know what I mean?
I think so, but it's not my game. One of the reasons I have nothing to do with it, generally, is because of all the ill discipline that takes place. I just think it's unacceptable. It's ludicrous.
I do love rugby union now. I never understood it until about 10 years ago, but I'll tell you what, I love that discipline. Tough as anything, them lads and all that. But the discipline for me, spot on. You know, the shake hands, come off the pitch, all of them. None of this fighting tunnel and all this business, you know what I mean?
Although I saw something on the women's football this afternoon, I've forgotten who it was, England playing somebody, Italy.
Correct,
and the Italian player committed a foul, not a hideous one, but a foul on the English player, which hurt her. She was down for a bit. And at some point later in the match, when the ball was out of play and they were close to each other, the Italian woman went over and shook hands with the English woman and said, sorry. You know, and I think if you can't play sport like that, then join the army. You know, go and kill people. Don't be faffing about. But there you go.
Absolutely.
Such is fun. Have a good night, Paul. I'll do Alan.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. There was a bloke last night, and he was on about cars being. If they've got the number plate full of muck, how do they know that it's you?
Yeah.
I know a driving instructor, and he's actually said that the police can actually pull you up.
Yeah, we said that last night.
Oh yeah, I know he said that last night, but I texted me a driving instructor this morning, and he was saying that you can actually be pulled up, or you can actually be in trouble for it.
Yeah, you can. Your number plate has to be legible at a certain distance. I've forgotten what that distance is, but it has to be legible. And it has to comply with certain rules and regulations. You can't just make one the size you like. And it's even the case, although they never enforce it these days, these people who have a set of letters and numbers that spells out a name like Jimmy, you know, J11, MMY or whatever. Well,
people like that.
It's because they've got small penises. But anyway, so they think, look at me, I can afford this number plate. Look at me, I'm a clown. Anyway, but that's actually technically illegal, but I don't think they ever prosecute it anymore because the department that issues number plates actually sells them. So it'd be a bit rich to sell them, to give the government some money, and then go and arrest the guy for having it. That wouldn't be particularly fair. But yeah, if your number plate is damaged or non-existent or the wrong one, then you can be in. You know, I mean, they're not going to take you to jail for 25 years, but you're breaking the law.
Yeah, my mate's a driving instructor, and he was telling me this morning that you can actually be pulled up by the police.
You can.
I don't drive, but this is what driving instructor was telling me. Did you watch St. Helens yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Didn't you?
No.
Very, very good match.
Was it? I've forgotten who it was.
Yeah.
St. Helens and from someone up north.
Penrith, wasn't it?
Penrith. I knew it was up north there. That really is up north. Yeah, it was a close run thing. There was only 1 point in it, wasn't there?
Yeah, an Australian team, wasn't it?
Well, they're all Australian teams now, aren't they?
Yeah. I like them. I think there should be more. Rugby like that. You know, like English Australian teams. We might learn off them. We don't know what I mean.
Well, it's kind of difficult because it's such a long way away. You know, you can't fly here, have the game, fly back, and go and carry on with your season at home.
Yeah, but do you know, like the World Cup last year, I watched it and I was like, the Australians, they're miles in front, aren't they? But I wouldn't mind every now and again, like that thing just there with St. Helens, but I wouldn't mind that more often, do you know what I mean? We should have that more often, shouldn't we?
Well, it would be good if we did, but we might actually be able to play the game as well as them if we play against them often enough. But for the moment, we'll just have to let their players come over here when they're knackered and still beat our players. seems to be the way it goes.
One more thing. Have you watched the women's cricket, Alan?
No.
No, I'll tell you something. I've absolutely loved it. I've watched everything, you know, all the Women's Cricket World Cup 2020.
Yeah.
Fully enjoyed it.
Good.
Who do you think will win that?
I've no idea who's playing.
England are in semi-finals.
And who's left? I know, obviously, England are playing, and she wouldn't have mentioned it, but who are the other, however many it is?
Australia.
Right. Anyway, they could win it. I mean, in terms of their ability to beat current opponents, I believe the England cricket team, like the England football team, are having more success than is the tradition of the women's teams are having more success than the equivalent men's teams, although the men's cricket team had a very interesting result yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah. Especially New Zealand, yeah. What do you think of the Ashes? Anything?
Well, it's a different kettle of fish. We'll have to wait and see.
It should be close though, shouldn't it?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. we often think, oh, our team's going out and beating them. They beat them. Oh, they're really going well. They're second in the world. And we've even had it when they're first in the world, and then they go to Australia and get their asses kicked. So that's kind of how it goes. Nice to talk to you as well, Alan. Have a good night, mate. The thing about Australia, when you get there, I've been, and quite frankly, there's bugger all to do. How do Alan? That was him. How do Elliot?
Hello. How are you? You're all right?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah.
Good. I wanted to just bring up a subject which has become very, very. Well, it's an everyday now. It's permeating our situation, and it's the disclosure of personal and medical details without consent, and also paradoxically, because I think this is another very important factor: freedom of information and freedom of speech. And although it's a generalised term, and you can debate it all night, it's a very, very much part of the agenda, and it applies to all of us, you, me, and every citizen in the UK. But there was an anecdotal event that took place that refers to me personally yesterday. And before I say and tell you anything about it, if you want to hear it, I don't want to put you in an invidious position, Alan, but it relates to your employer. And I'm talking now about the BBC, which, of course, as we all know, is a British broadcasting organisation that's funded by licence payers' money.
Yeah, it's a corporation, not an organisation, but go on.
Well, corporation, organisation, I agree with that, of course.
Well, the name is BBC, it's a C.
Yes, agreed. I mean, do you want me to tell you about this event so that you've...
Well, I'm not concerned presently, but if I get concerned, I'll stop you, so carry on.
I see. I rang your sister radio station, which is Radio 5 Live, yesterday evening, and I wanted to express an opinion about something I was told recently by an individual I know on the 606 programme with Savage and Sutton. I got through, and I spoke to a lad, and he said to me, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, I'd like to talk about something I was told recently. And it's purely anecdotal, it's trivial, but I thought it might be a subject for conjecture. And I told him that he asked me actually who I supported, and I said, well, I'm not really a great enthusiast of football, but I've got a partiality to Manchester United. So then I said, I met this chap recently, and he said to me, who do you support? I was talking to him just, without any real reason, but he said, well, who do you support? And I said, well, I'm Manchester United supporter. Oh, he said, you're not a City supporter? I said, no, I'm not a Manchester City supporter. So he said, well, you realise that Guardiola will be leaving Manchester City soon, don't you? And I said, really? I was quite shocked. And I said, why do you say that? He said, because he's going to take the Brazilian national team job, a job that he wanted to take 7 years ago before he went to Manchester City. But he was blocked by a few major Brazilian individuals like Scolari because he felt...
Right, well, we're getting... why... So you were told this story.
Yeah, that's right. That's all it was. And a totally trivial story. It was a footballing matter that I wanted to discuss with Sutton and Savage. That's what their programme is all about, isn't it?
I've never heard it.
Oh, you've never... Oh, well, that's what their programme is supposed to be there for, to discuss footballing subjects. Now, that's all I wanted to do.
But not necessarily rumours.
Oh, well, that's what it was, a rumour, that's all.
Exactly. Hence, I said not necessarily rumours.
Well, absolutely not. I mean, you make what you want of it. You don't have to take it seriously.
Or even hear it.
No, but if it's nothing. Yeah, but you know
if it's got no authority behind it, it's not a place to discuss it.
But it's a subject related to football.
Well, that's not the point. It's just because
that's the point of the programme.
Well, that's your Elliot. That's your view of the point of the programme. If Elliot, shut up and listen. It's good for you. If I'd have been producing that programme, I wouldn't have put you on.
Why?
Because you were just discussing some rumour for some bloke just driving about in the society. It had no authority in it at all.
But I didn't suggest for a moment it did. And I do listen to them.
But they don't discuss, the BBC don't discuss rumours on specific programmes. You'd get it through on here because we don't give a toss, as you've just noticed.
No, I agree.
But I think the producers of that programme were right. So what are you going to do now?
Well, let me tell you exactly what happened. You see, you're jumping the gun.
I'm not jumping the gun.
Yes, you are, because you're not allowing me to finish.
Right.
You're just letting me to finish.
Elliot, no, I wouldn't. I can't be bothered. It's football. I don't care. How do Trevor?
Hi, Alan. Are you all right? No.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'd just like to talk about Taylor Swift. I watched Miss Americana, a documentary tonight. I watched this evening, and then I watched a concert. And she's really, really good. I didn't realise that she'd had all the things she'd had with Kanye West when she got a prize and he took it away from her and said Beyonce should have had it. And I didn't realise that she'd had such trouble with her difficulties with eating problems, I presume. I presume that was the point. She didn't say explicitly. But some of her music is just fantastic. I think she's a great artist. I don't know if you like her or you know of her, so I don't know.
I wouldn't know her if I fell over her.
No, perhaps not. She did take a big chance of getting involved in politics again. Marjorie Blackman I think it was in Tennessee. She said people should get out and vote against her. She was a Republican at that time, and
so Taylor Swift said that.
Yes, she did. Yeah, she didn't say to get. She just said it was because of certain issues that were going on at the time. I believe women's rights, as it's become a big issue now in America. And Taylor Swift was saying take the Democrat incumbent rather than the Republican incumbent, but eventually the Republican won in Tennessee, but. That was in 2018, and I remember listening to Donald Trump say after she said after she said it to him, he said, "Well, stock's gone down 25%."
Whose stock?
Donald Trump said Taylor Swift. Donald Trump said, "Yeah, well, that's just about the way it is, isn't it?"
I don't know.
I don't know him either.
Is Taylor Swift a listed company who has
No, we're not talking stocks and shares. I mean, a general colloquial comment. I don't mean anything by that.
When you say you weren't talking stocks and shares, but you quoted the president or former president, depending on when it was, saying her stock's gone down, that kind of hints that you're talking about stocks and shares.
I could be talking about stock in a soup.
You could, but I don't think we're not discussing what you were attributing to the word stocks, but one hopes that the president, former president, whichever, was referring to stocks as the company value of the individual rather than what soup she has.
Perhaps he was making that illusion, but he's the most powerful.
Taylor Swift, she's finished. She doesn't drink tomato soup anymore. Doesn't really work,
I think Donald Trump's he's got his own problems at the moment. I can't really speak about him because I don't think it's important at the moment. I think it's most the Democratic incumbent, but Joe Biden that's the one that should be thought about at the moment. But yeah.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
I didn't bring him up. You did.
I don't know. I saw a concert, Reputation concert, and she was really good in it. She does a light show like Beyonce, but she also does one with a guitar, just stood with the microphone and plays the piano and all that, and just unaccompanied. I thought she'll have backing singers as well as whatever, but it's really good show. Yeah, fantastic.
Right.
Oh, well, that went down well.
Well, I can't say she's not good.
No.
Music I've heard. You said she you said she did a really good show. Right, okay. I'm not doubting you. I just don't know where the conversation goes from there. She did a really good show. Brilliant. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, now what?
Well, thank you. Well,
okay.
For me, there's very few artists that have got as much power in the musical industry as she has, and she's such a skilled performer. And she's won so many awards. One of the first platinum selling artists of a country and pop album at the same time. The first one, that was what Kanye West was getting angry about, and she's done so many things. She's won award after award.
Who's Kanye West?
Kanye West was the husband of Kim Kardashian, I think. And Kim Kardashian has a television show. Kanye West is called Ye now. He was. I think he's been taken.
So what is he? Is he a politician? Is he what? Is he a singer?
He's a singer.
Right. Right. So we're having a conversation about a list of American singers that I don't listen to.
Yeah.
Right. So do you want to just tell me what, so we can get it out of the way, so we're not being unfair? Can you tell me what you thought of? Was it Tanya or Kanye West's concert?
Oh, Kanye West. Well, I've never seen any concert, but
oh, right, so you can't.
It's rather popular.
It's right. No. If I ask you what you think of a concert and you never saw it, that's the end of the answer. But do have a good
right, okay.
It is, isn't it? I never saw it. Right, well, you don't know what it was like then. I'll do Ted.
All right, Alan, just to say, what animal is it benefited human beings, Alan?
Lots of them. Pigs, sheep, cows, on account of us eating them. That's quite a benefit.
Well, birds have helped human beings in this world which we live in. The plane was based on a bird.
Whose brain was based on a bird's? Yours, mine, everybody's? Whose brain was based on a bird?
Well, the first human beings on the earth, when they tried to fly like a bird, they made machines like that fly like a bird, like sort of like the wings.
Well, the first human beings on Earth, as far as I understand it, didn't make flying machines. I thought it was a couple of years later that did that, wasn't it?
I don't know, but birds have made humans fly.
They've made them fly?
Birds have made humans fly like planes. Birds made humans make planes.
So what you're saying is that humans made planes because they could see that birds could fly. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. No, that's fine. I accept that. I'll do Sammy. Hello, Sammy. I'll do Tony.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, Tony.
Hiya. If I go to the main topic, I'm just going to ask you something. See if you noticed something that I've noticed. You remember Trevor? He was on a few callers ago. Not the one, but the last one. A good few callers ago. Trevor.
Well, go on. Carry on. We'll see where we're
I
going.
was wondering if you've noticed something about it with me. I've noticed, because I've listened to this program for a long, long time, that he used to talk about politics 4 nights a week, when he used to do 4 nights a week. But for some reason, in 2019, since that show took over, he doesn't talk about politics anymore. I think he's embarrassed.
I don't know. I'm not in a position to speak for him.
No, just wondering. Have you ever noticed that he doesn't talk about it anymore, though?
No,
Or have you never thought of it?
I never notice what anyone talks about. I have the conversation and then they go off and it's gone.
Yeah, anyway, that's something I noticed. He never talks about politics anymore. But I'm very observant, you see. Right, anyway.
Clearly.
Yeah. Hold on, a couple of weeks ago. I talked to you about the immunisation, the vaccines. Well, I'm not going to go through it all again. But one thing I didn't say last time was, when I mentioned he used a mice model to base the vaccines on. We said to you that the Pfizer used the model, and Moderna used that model. Now, that model, when they did it, it caused destruction to the mice, the mouse model. It caused destruction to the mice cells.
Where have you got this information from?
Yeah, I've got it from the American Heart Association.
American what?
If you look at that, the American Heart Association.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, they did this model based on the vaccines using a vector, and it caused destruction to the mouse's heart cells.
Right.
And we use that same model in Pfizer and Moderna, and we know that it causes destruction in. Yeah, well, it has been. Many people have problems with it, and I'm just wondering why they're still using that same vaccine, because if it can cause destruction in the heart cells and inflammation and destruction.
Well, Tony, I'm not a scientist. I don't have the answers to your questions. In order for them to use it, it has to pass certain safety tests, and one presumes it's passed those tests. And I've had all 4 vaccines, and my heart's fine, thanks. How do Andy?
Hey, Alan.
We've done that. What would you like to talk about, Andy?
Last night you were talking about dogs in movies.
Yes. Films, yeah.
I saw Gnarly in Gnarly and Me.
Right. So is Marley a dog in that? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other thing I wanted to say, I wanted to ask you a question that I heard in a quiz once. What national song is sung once a year?
What
national song is sung once a year?
Just once a year?
Yeah.
In this country?
Yeah.
What national song is sung once a year? I don't know. Which one is it?
Old I'm Dying.
Who?
Old I'm Dying.
Oh, right. Yeah, I suppose it is, yeah.
That's it. That's all I want to say, really.
Right. Thank you. Have a good night. Old Lang Syne. Yeah, once a year. By lots of people. Yeah, for about 3 minutes. Most of them don't know the words, including me, but they've got the excuse they're drunk. I haven't. How do Mary? Hello, Mary.
Hello, yes, it's Fiona. I don't know why you got me confused with Mary all the while. Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Hello, it's just about Nicola, and it said in the paper today that a man and woman had been walking along the River Wire just a mile from where Nicola had vanished, and he said he rang the police and said it was definitely the body of a woman. So the police came along and found a body. Whether it was Nicola, we don't know, you see. But another thing I'd like to say is I didn't really agree with the police saying about her personal being, alcohol embarrassed and that. And I think had she been, or if she's alive, to know that the whole public knew about her could make her feel ashamed or embarrassed and not know what to do. It might have sent her even really more depressed. But that's just something that I'd like to say. And let's hope it's a tragic case, really. And it's so sad. And, that's all I wanted to say, really, Alan, about it.
It's very definitely sad. And lots of people think the police's comments about her private life were not acceptable, including other police officers, and we shall find out if any consequence falls upon Lancashire Police for that. But good to talk to you, Mary. I'll do Fiona. Hello, Fiona.
Hello. It was me, Alan.
Right. Oh, my apologies. I was talking to you as if you were Mary. So clearly things went wrong then. Sorry about that. So you were Fiona. I don't know why I called you Mary. I'll do Alan.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Yeah, I want to talk about the film star, Lorne Green.
Good Lord. That's going back a bit.
You're from Bonanza.
I do, yes.
Do you know he made a hit record?
Called Ringo.
That's the one.
He lays face down in the desert sand, clutching a 6-gun in his hand. Shot from behind, I thought he was dead, for under his heart there was an ounce of lead. Late that night I used my knife, and late that night I saved the life of Ringo.
Oh, it's a great tune, isn't it?
Well, I don't know how great it is, but I do remember it.
Yeah, I thought it was a great tune. He sang that.
Yes, I'm not sure he sang it either, really. He just recited it, didn't he?
Did he?
That was it. But yeah, he just spoke it. It wasn't singing. There was music, but he wasn't singing. But a spark still burns, so I use my life. Hey, fabulous. I think we'll play it. Shall we play it?
Yeah, play it, Alan, yeah. Love to hear it.
We'll play it when we finish talking, Alan. But there you are. What made you think of that?
Now I was just thinking about westerns, TV series about Bonanza and the High Chaparral and all that lot.
High Chaparral, yeah, that was weird. Well, that was the one that had a woman in charge of the ranch, wasn't it?
The Ponderosa, yeah, I think it was called.
The Ponderosa was Lorne Green.
Yeah, that was Bonanza, weren't it?
Yeah.
That was the Cannon family, weren't it? Big John Cannon. They called him in the High Chaparral.
Yeah, sorry, we're getting our cowboys mixed up. Yeah, the High Chaparral was the Cannon family, yeah.
Then you had Manolito.
Oh, now you beat me. Don't know who Manolito
is. Well, he wasn't gang in it.
I don't know. I do.
The Mexican guy.
No, I don't know at all. I didn't really watch High Chaparral. I don't know why, but I didn't.
But you used to watch Bonanza.
I watched Bonanza, yeah, in black and white, and that burning map. Do you remember?
Yeah.
In the outset, in the credits.
Yeah, what an opening sequence that was.
It was all right, wasn't it? And he used to.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, something about those. If anyone fights one of those boys, he's got to fight with me. Bonanza. So there was a song. He put. That was the other thing he did. He put words to the Bonanza title. He used to ding, 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 ding.
That's the one.
Yeah. And I can't remember all that. But there was a line in it. If anyone fights any one of us, then he's got to fight with me.
Yeah.
I'm very butch.
Do you remember the Big Valley?
Yeah, I do. I don't remember. I remember the title, but I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, Lee Majors used to be in it from the $6 Million Man.
Good Lord.
Was it Barbara Stanley?
Yeah, she was in one of them. I don't know whether
she was in that. Yeah,
she
well,
was
Big
in that,
Valley she
right.
was in.
Yeah. Barbara Stanwyck. We're going back in time here a bit, aren't we, eh?
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Good Lord. But that's not a bad thing.
Alias Smith and Jones.
Oh, yeah. But they did a remake of that, didn't they, with Bob Mortimer and Vic Reeve? Oh, no, I'm thinking of Randall Not Kirk.
No, that's...
Yeah, Alias Smith and Jones, yeah. That's it. There's one thing I know, Smith. What's that? We've got to get out of this business. That was the opening credit.
So Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer did Randall Not Kirk remake, did they?
They did, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was very successful. I think there was only one series.
I don't think I ever watched that.
Oh, well.
I used to like the original series.
Yeah, that was quite good. With an actor called Jeff somebody who was in Coronation Street early on. Well, I don't know his full name. Anyway, there we go. Fantastic. I think we're going to play Lorne Green and Ringo. Just for you in a song. How very sad is that? Lorne Green and Ringo. I don't know whether they did a full album. I think there was just that, and on the other side was words to the theme tune of Bonanza. Do you know, like I've forgotten the name, but one of the actors in EastEnders put or sang the words to the EastEnders theme. Anyone can fall in love. Anita Dobson, yes, thank you, Jason. Jason knows everything about music. Yeah. How do, Fred?
Hello, lad.
You'll need to turn off your broadcast device, television, radio, whatever it is.
I just switched my radio off, lad. How's the settling, lad?
Awfully well, thank you.
By gum, this business about gravity and about why we are hanging upside down on bottom of Earth in Australia, whereas we're on top of Earth. What's this gravity thing? Because that Isaac Newton fella, I think he were at University of Cambridge, but we knew about gravity at the University of Accrington years ago, years before that.
Right.
So gravity. So why does sun hang in the sky, and why does it go round galaxy? Because apparently, according to Professor Brian Cox, 200 million years it takes for the sun to travel round galaxy. Well, how does he know that? Because we at University of Accrington don't understand it.
Well, I don't know how he knows it. Perhaps you should be addressing your question to Professor Cox.
Aye. That's right there, lads. I mean, he might know something that we don't know.
Well, he plainly knows that, which you've already professed that you don't know, and I certainly don't. So we've established already that he does know stuff that you and I don't know. I guess that's how one becomes a professor.
Well, his genius is do people know stuff that we don't know, and why don't we know it when they seem to know it? Because we at University of Accrington seem to know a lot of things.
What?
Well, Accrington won a game at Weekend Lad, and that was a good thing.
Accrington won a game? What is Accrington? I thought it was a town.
Accrington Stanley football team.
Oh, right. Yes, I used to know Stanley Accrington.
Aye.
I did.
Aye, you were a grand lad, weren't you?
He was very good. He was very funny.
Aye. Unlike me. Never mind.
Quite so. He used to come on stage with a bicycle. And then, I mean, I don't really do this every time, but that was part of his act at one time, Stanley Accrington. And he used to talk all about his damaged bicycle. It's very funny.
There were one lad I saw on stage, Charlie Chuck, and I hadn't seen him for ages, and he was on telly the other day. Oh, he was a funny lad. He was a funny guy. Charlie Chuck, I've mentioned his name.
Right.
Anyway, when Isaac Newton saw Apple fall to planet, and he realised that gravity, and apparently science says that gravity is basically the fundamental force in the universe. Even Einstein knew that. We at University of Accrington knew that years ago, but nobody listened to us, lad. Nobody listened to us.
They probably just couldn't understand you.
Happiness, maybe. Anyway, have a nice night.
I always do. Bye-bye. 0800 218 2255. If you've never heard of Stanley Accrington, don't worry. Lots of people haven't, but then lots of people have. I've seen him a couple of times in folk clubs. I believe he used to do other things as well. And he's even got a couple of albums, I think. Anyway, there you are. He emerged in the 1970s. According to his website, he's been terrorising the cultural world ever since. He's written hundreds of songs. Oh, he's still going. Oh, blimey. He must be knocking on a bit now. October, January, February. What date is it? What date is it today? Well, yesterday it was the 18th. He was at Rutland, but that was a private party. Oh, there we go. On the 18th of May, he's in Egbert County Cricket Club, Liverpool, the new Everyman Folk Club. Thursday the 18th of May. Saturday the 10th of June, I don't care, I'll be on holiday. He's at Norden, near Rochdale, at the Millgate Tea Room. He does the big places. And on the 15th, he does Nets Bar, Gregson Lane, near Preston. That's a folk club as well. So there you are. I've got no more. And I don't know why I should do anyway. Why am I advertising him? Doesn't advertise me, I presume. Anyway, Stanley, if you're listening, enjoy. Do you still do that bit with the bike? Probably not. 0800 218 2255. It's perfectly possible. I mixed him up with somebody else anyway. I'll do Dave.
Good morning, Alan.
Good morning. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. Good morning, Alan.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. 35 years to ring you. I remember scratching around at school with all my friends with the Allan Beswicks badges. Very popular, those I hate Allan Beswicks badges, particularly with me. I got about twopence a badge. Very good. Yes, I just wanted to talk about somebody recently uploaded the Love at Road series to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's actually on YouTube, both the first and second series at the moment. And I just kind of wondered, I mean, some of the people I do actually know in the programme, I'm actually milkman, so I've still got one or two of those that are actually customers, so they're alive and well. I just wondered if there's anything that you ever thought about going back to revisit and do again.
We did do it on one of the anniversaries, 10 years, 20 years or whatever. We did do a very short piece for just interviewing people that had been on the programme when we originally did it, both series, and just basically remarked that it was the anniversary of the Love at Road series. It was one of the first, if not the first, fly-on-the-wall television documentary, believe it or not. And I'm just telling that for Love at Road is a street in Preston. Tony Wilkie Miller, the producer, was looking for a street that was not identical to Coronation Street, but had some of the things that Coronation Street have got. A factory close by, a couple of shops, and a long row of terraced houses in a street that was previously cobbled. And he wanted to address what you might call the sociological question of, do such streets still exist, and do they still have that community sense about them? And I think the answer was, to a large extent, yes, they did. And that was the the sort of thinking behind it. And they had a camera crew there for about 6 weeks, and I used to go down there 2 days a week and do interviews and film story links, pieces to camera, as they're called. So, yeah, he was quite successful.
One of the questions whether you actually lived on site for a little while the...
I didn't, but the crew did. The crew did.
Right.
The BBC rented one of the houses, and they had about... we didn't tell anyone at the time. They had about 250,000 quid worth of television equipment in the back bedroom, complete edit desk and all the rest of it, And they had, but they actually lived on site. The crew, I think Tony did as well. Tony Wilkie Miller did as well, and all the the runners and all those other people that do television. But yeah, so they were there for quite a while.
Yeah, well, it's like sorry, go on, Alan.
I just came in and did the presenter bits. You come in, they say this, stand there, walk there, do that, talk to him, ask him this and this, right, thank you, right, get in your car, sod off, you're in the way. So that was generally it.
No, but it was. I mean, I was very young, very, very young when it was out initially, and it was kind of nice to kind of catch up and see the people on it. And Pat, who run the pub, Pat Fiddler, she's a customer of mine. She's alive and well, this Pat, and she works at a superstore in Fulwood in Preston. Still.
Excellent.
Yeah, she's still scratching about. But yeah, I just wanted to ring about that. It was, it was superb for anybody who's interested in watching it. It is up on YouTube. Season 1 and 2.
Well, there it is, Lovett Road. Blimey, you can even get a DVD of it. They spelt my bloody name wrong on it, but there you are. Allan Beswicks takes a look around. 1988. 3 episodes, 30 minutes each. Allan Beswicks takes a look around Lovett Road in Preston, Lancashire, and tracks and chats to the residents of the area. So there you are.
It's definitely worth a watch, Alan.
Well, I don't think I'll be doing it. I kind of remember it, but others will, I hope. The worst thing is I won't get any damn money for it. That's life.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Life can be very, very cruel. Even the BBC won't get any money for it. Anyway, if you're interested, people, it's on YouTube. And good luck to you. Thank you very much, Dave. 0800 218 2255. I know. I'll do Arnold.
Alan, you give me a topic. Don't mean a topic chocolate bar. Instead of me promoting your long service ship, your whereabouts, I was going to ask you, knowing a bit of it, what have you got on? You got curtains on the wall or blinds there on? Or carpets, or wooden floorboards?
Well, it's a room, so yeah, it's got carpets and... Because if I had floorboards...
I imagine you got black carpet though.
No, I haven't got black. No, it's greyish.
Hey, what do you imagine? In your job now, left to your imagination, what would you do? Not work or work?
I'd work.
I mean, it's an imaginary job, eh?
I'd work. I love work.
I imagine people like you, Alan, or people that I see on telly. Mind you, I've not got great love for foul mouth tirade. You know, with a tirade of foul mouth. I've not got a great love for that, Alan. You know what I mean, don't you? Mm-hmm. Tirade of abuse. Mm-hmm. And I do respect all my family. But I would like to say, what's on your desk at the moment, Alan? I've just got a pot noodle nearly done. What have you got on your desk?
Well, there's no food on it. I'm not going to list all that's on it. There's a lot of things on it. Yeah. Roller sellotape. Telephone.
Roll sellotape, blue tack.
No, I don't use that.
Blue tack?
Computer. No, I don't use that. No.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, can I ask, Alan, how are you feeling? I mean, I'm not saying anyone ever hurt your feelings, but how are you feeling about end of career? Is there a date set yet, Alan? Yeah.
Well, no, there's no date set. We don't know when it'll happen or if it'll happen or anything. I'm just the gob on a stick. Nobody tells me anything.
I'm just saying, my dad retired when he was 65. That's when now, but he went back to work when he was 73 because there's more money working than on a pension. Will you go on a state pension or have you got work pension?
Well, I haven't got a work pension on account of I don't work for anybody.
Are you insured for anyway? Are you insured? Are you in like a dart player? Can get what? No. Remember, boys. Oh, he's in trouble, isn't he, boys? No, I couldn't believe me Sunday people this morning. But he got a glitter on front page. He was not publicising it, you know. Didn't buy it in there. I just left it in the house account. I got 2 scratch cards, a pack of tea. When the cafe had a cappuccino. I went to a delicatessen cafe, had a breakfast. Went to the pub, had a pint of cider. Went to a pound shop. Oh, what do you think of these pound shops, Alan? There's a lot of them now, isn't there? Pound World, Pound Land.
I'm sure they're very good.
Yeah. What do you think of veg shops? Do you go in any veg shops, Alan, or fruit shops?
Yes.
Yeah, palate. What is your palate? Grapefruit? No? Do you like them? Pomegranate? Palate. P-A-L-A-T-E. Veg or
palate.
Meat.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, a big word for me, Alan. Hey, give me credit.
Indeed.
What's your palate? Yeah.
I don't know what you mean. I know what my palate...
When you go to France, what's your palate in France? In Spain, it's quite basic. Paella, tortilla. You use plenty of vinegar, plenty of cooking oil. In Spain, all over Europe, kids start drinking at a lot younger age. You know that, don't you, Alan?
I didn't know it, no.
Table. Well, yeah, I'm talking 7-year-olds. Would you believe drugs addiction? Do you know for a fact drugs addiction is not good for you, Alan? Or any views on drugs addiction? As far as I'm aware, drug addiction is not good for a person. I know. Would you say tobacco is addictive? Tobacco.
Yeah, tobacco is definitely addictive, yes.
Yeah.
And that's not good for you.
What would you say? Yeah. What song are you playing at the end of the show, Alan? I meant to ask you the other night. I rang the other weekend.
The one I play at the end of every programme.
Yeah. But what would you do if you had no love in your life? I'm assuming you've got a decent out-of-work life. I'm assuming you will continue to have a decent life when you retire, or I think you're a decent, honest, well-spoken person, you know.
Right.
I'm Rochdale. Haywood born and bred. But I would like to add, before you go to the next person, do you read a lot out now, or you don't read as much reading material? Or script there for your job?
Well, I don't have any scripts, but I read.
Hey, yeah. You do that on your pitmanship where you write down every word in a decoded fashion.
Yeah, pitman shorthand, yeah.
Yeah. You ever read that for Deaf Marathon, Blind of Braille, dots. What other disability? Oh, yeah. I have been a dog. My kids are growing up. We're not a student job in Preston. You mentioned Preston. I travel all over Europe. Have you travelled all over Europe, Alan, or just France?
I've been to a lot.
Yeah. You lived abroad? Have you ever? I did. I lived in Barcelona. You ever lived abroad, Alan?
No, not really.
Where in the United Kingdom have you been domiciled? Your present house. Where was your last one? Was that in Warrington?
No.
Well, you like chocolate, Alan, or you want them? You won't eat chocolate. A dog, yeah. You give a cat cow's milk, Alan, it can get diarrhea, can't it? The cat.
I've heard so, yes.
Yeah.
It's been a joy answering your questions often. Thank you very much. How do Roger?
Oh, hello, Alan.
Hello, Roger.
You all right?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, of course. I just wanted to continue a little conversation on about the dogs before, you know. Well, Billy Connolly had the saying, never trust a fart. And never trust a fart is exactly never trust a dog.
When I was younger, I got bit by a poodle, which was on the back of my knee. I was really horrible. And then a couple of years later, I got bit by a Shih Tzu. And that's not nice. And then in my later years, I got attacked by an Alsatian. And the 3 times they were off the leads and no control. And I thought, well, this is madness. I just can't stand dogs. I think every man to himself, everyone who has a dog and it's looking after them, even if they're lonely or whatever and they've got a friend, it's fine, but always keep control of your dog, because we've seen all the rubbish in the past, haven't we, with all the kids being, mauled and grown-ups. And it's just crazy. That's absolutely crazy. It shouldn't be allowed, I think they should get massive penalties if you let your dog out, and attack someone. They should be locked up, really. So, yeah, that's a bit deep. It's my birthday today, by the way. I'm 72 today, a little bit younger than you. And I've had a great day. All my grandchildren have been around and wish me happy birthday and everything. I'm in a good mood. I'm just sitting here listening to Allan Beswicks as I normally do. And it's nice. But it's just the dog thing really bugs me. It really does.
Well, I'm not surprised. You obviously look very tasty, Roger. Thank you very much. There's a fella bit by a Shih Tzu, and he said, "Dear God, I nearly sued me pants." How do, Craig?
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you. I just want to. I rang you tonight. I'm a regular listener to your programme. But I want to talk about people that in the current climate, and they're struggling with debt and they're struggling with finances and things like that. I'm one of them people at the minute that I'm really struggling. I'm a skilled man. I can't find work at the minute, but I want to discuss and throw in the air about how people react to you during them times, because even like my family, once they and people when they know that, I'll give you an example, because I'm skint, right? I've got no money, so and when people have found out that, they tend to step away from you or defer from you, because they think, oh, is he going to ask to borrow a tenner, or is he going to have to borrow some money for you? And I just think it's very hard emotionally when you're in that situation, and then people people automatically take the response of, he's a nice guy, but I better stay away because he might ask for a tenner, or he might ask for a pint, or he might ask a thing. I don't know what you think.
People are just, I don't know, people are afraid. It's like death. People are very...
exactly.
They don't talk to people, if you've lost somebody...
They step away. And I'm talking about serious, very, very close family members. I'm talking about parents, brothers and sisters. And
it's because they don't know what to do. It's very difficult.
It is.
To know what to do. They're made very uncomfortable by your pain. I'm not suggesting that they. I don't mean that in any derogatory way, but people don't know how to deal with other people's problems. What do they say? Do they put their arm around you and say, "Come on, lad"? Well, is that patronising? I don't know.
Well, no, but I'll give you guys the truth. So my mum, is she's not short of a few bob, right? Put it that way. I don't want to discuss it further. But when I go around and she knows I'm hungry, and I've told her, and she accuses me of being alcoholic. Where are you spending all your money? And I keep explaining I've not got any. I'm on universal credits at the minute. I shouldn't be. I haven't money, but you know what I mean. The money I get is this. But they frown at it. What I'm trying to get across is people look down and they avoid you to say, if our trade comes round, he might ask for a tenner, or he might want to, or he might look in the fridge and borrow some food or whatever. But I'm needy, but it's hard to explain to the people you love as well, is that I need help. Without coming across as wanting to take sort of self in my language, without taking the piss. I'm not taking the piss. I want food.
It's difficult obviously for you, but it's difficult for them as well, in that first of all, they may be at the edge of their financial capabilities. And so they think, well, if we say to Craig, do you want to come round, we'll give you a meal, then is he going to want to come round every night for a meal, and we can't afford that? There are all sorts of difficult questions that people are afraid of.
I understand that. I think that is a moral thing as well, because people have a moral past. Should we trust him? Should we not? But you know what? I mean, I really, really can't understand it, and I'm having difficulty with family members to make them realise I have got nothing. Now I get quizzed, what do you do with universal credits? I said, well, my universal credits don't cover my mortgage, so it's gone. When I get my £300 every month, it's gone. With the council tax and everything, so I've not got no food. And then family, no, but are you drinking it? Are you alcohol? And there's no history of me drinking and whatever. But people speculate and think, "Oh, you do with your money? Then you must be a junkie, or you must be." And it's so hard. I can remember you in your program. You've said so many times that there's only. I think you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that so many people are only 2 decisions away of becoming homeless.
Yeah, there's a sort of standard expression. Most people, no matter how comfortable we are, many of us are just 5 wrong decisions away from homelessness.
5, sorry, I thought it was 2. You mentioned underpants, yeah.
It's a starting point, I mean, one might be chucking your job in, one might be having a row with your partner and splitting.
Yeah, I know, and I've been through all them things, But
even the comfortably off are just 5 bad decisions away from the street. But if you're not comfortable...
Everybody is, yeah. And I've said to family members, I really hope that you never, ever come into financial difficulty like I am. Because, I really hope you don't be in this situation, because it's a horrible, horrible situation. And I say to my mum, I said, please don't get in this. And she'll, I don't want to pick on certain people, but it's hard, and people need to know it. And people think you're lying. People, and it's instinct of natural, maybe human behaviour or human instinct to think, well, he's lying. He's after something. Is he a junkie? And they make a decision about you, with and automatically and class you as something. And it's very hard. But there's a lot of people who need help, and it's very hard to convince them sometimes and tell them the truth, because they think you're a liar. So I'm going through that difficulty at the time, and I need to voice my opinion tonight, because I've gone through some difficulty with family, and my mum particularly does not believe me when I say I've got nothing. What you do me? What you do me this money? You drink it? I'm not doing anything. I've not eaten for 2 days. I went round for tea tonight. She made me tea, brilliant. But I've not got anything. I'm job hunting. I'm looking for jobs. I'm a skilled man, but it's difficult at the minute. But
when you say you're a skilled man, what is your skill?
I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer.
But we keep being told that there are jobs for all sorts of people.
There is, yeah. I mean, I could go and work at the local Tesco. I mean, I'm not being picky and choosy, but I could go and get a job. But what I'm saying is, when I'm turning up on people, when you go and ask for help, right? People, I feel they look down and think, well, what's this all about? They look at the negative and thinking, he's asking for money because of this. Is he a drug addict? Is he okay? Is he whatever? What's he wanting for? But it's hard to convince a family member that I just need to eat. That's my difficulty anyway. That's what I'm experiencing, and it might not be everyone's case. But I've got. I went for an interview last week. I've got my CV online. I've got a good CV, a great CV, and I've been actively looking for jobs. I am, but what I'm trying to say is when people know you're in fantasy, you shy away from you. Is what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? Oh, right, yeah, all right, yeah. Oh, our Craig's around again. I'll pretend I'm not in, or I won't. You know, and people shy away from you, the people you love and the family members, because they oh God, and it's a horrible thing. You know, I've never met anyone, and it's just hard that people think like that.
Yeah,
I'm not that.
I agree. It is. I mean, people are weird, absolutely weird. There are. I mean, I don't know whether you're interested in this, but there are jobs at the moment. Australia are looking for people. They are short of people in much the same way as we are, but they're doing something rather dramatic about it, and they're looking for various types of workers. And if you have access to the internet, you could have a look on there and see.
Yeah, do you know what? I live in Manchester, and I recently went for. Do you know what? Through an agency online, this company it was in near Devon. So I was willing to relocate, and I went down. I had an interview, got the job, but anyway, the money wasn't what the agency promised me. By the by, I'm willing to relocate and everything. But isn't Australia people? I know people have gone over there, but the cost of living over there is very much higher. So you wouldn't get as much money for your buck or whatever the expression is.
Bang for your buck.
Yeah, that's one.
I mean, well, I don't know whether the wages are more, I don't know whether they're less, but there are an awful lot of people in Australia who are living very nice lives, thank you very much. Now...
Yeah, they are, I know people over there, yeah.
I mean...
But more point I'm trying to say is, right, is anyone out there, if they've got a family member that is struggling, and don't tar them away, don't, you know, I mean, they're asking for help, but people tend to... I don't want to speak to him because he might ask me for a tenner, or he might ask, oh God, oh yeah, I'll ignore the phone, or I won't answer the door when he comes round because they, like you said, they might shy away from it, or they got their own reasons for it. But it's horrible, it's embarrassing. My mum said to me last week, I honestly God, right, my mum's she's got money, she's welfare. She said, have you not been to the food bank? And I thought, I thought, oh my God, you know what I mean? I just, and they look, they check, they say, have you been round? Well, I've not been in, and check it. And people cast doubts on you. People put you into because you're unemployed and you need it. They class you, they put you in a certain class where you can't be trusted, or that's my experience. It might not be everyone's experience, but that's what I'm feeling. It's horrible. I feel horrible. I don't want to go around anymore because I think I'm sponging. I'm not. I need to eat. You know, it's just. But people. I'm thinking about the people cast aspersions on people that are struggling, and they shouldn't do. It's for. Yeah, if it was a junkie and I would have needles up my arms and I was bloody whatever. Yeah, I understand, but I don't get. People do have that. People form an opinion too soon, I think, and think they're wrong. That's all I'm trying to say. And people do need help in this current age and this current climate we're in. You know, people do need help. So look out for your loved ones and people you care about is what I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
not everyone's a bad cup of tea.
I'm just looking on the recruitment website for Australia, and they're looking for engineers.
Right, go on. Can you follow me that, or tell me, or can I find it?
Well, have you got the internet?
Of course I have, yeah.
Well, you say, of course. I don't know. I just typed in job recruitment for Australia, and up came a website, more than one website, and there's all sorts of jobs available at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. But you know what? If you don't know what I'm saying, there's jobs. I live in Manchester. There's jobs in Trafford Park. I went for an interview last week. I didn't get it. So, are you not doing what my family are doing? Saying, well, yeah, why don't you go and look in Australia? Casting it off. You know, I know you're not, Alan. I know you're not.
A few moments ago, you said you went for a job in Devon and you didn't get it, which is fine, or at least you didn't want it because the money wasn't right, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I was merely offering you a way out of your current financial situation.
And thank you very much. I will certainly look at that, Alan. I will look at the Australia option. But I mean, that's a bit of it's a dramatic thing. It's just like someone passing the buck again. Hey, why don't you go and do this?
It's not as dramatic.
It's like my mum saying, why don't you go to the food bank?
It's not as dramatic it's not as dramatic as starving to death.
I know. I'll take your advice, Alan. Thank you. And I have looked at.
Well, it's not advice. I'm just offering you a thing. It's not for me. I don't care. I mean, the reality is that you're in a difficult position. If there was an easy solution, you would have found it. So then you have to look.
You're right. Yeah.
So then you have to look.
You're right, yeah.
So then you have to look for the hard solutions.
Yeah, that's an option. Yeah, it's an option.
Whenever I've not had a job, I've always thought I need to get a job, and my principle has always been get a job. If you don't like it, keep doing it till you get the next one.
Exactly, that's my mentality as well. It really is. I admire for that. But I know I will get a job. I know I'll find one. But it's how people react to you when you've not got a job and you're a bit tight for money. People shy away. Friends, family, and it makes you feel more isolated and more difficulty. And you make. I'm embarrassed to go to my mum and ask for a meal. I really am. You know what I mean? And it's. How do you know? I've done millions of things from my family when I've had money. When I've had money, I bought this, that, and the other. If I don't care, when people and you know, it's the fact that when you know they're shying away from you, and they don't answer the door, they don't answer the phone because they, oh God, our Craig's might be coming around asking for a tenner, or whatever. It might be spongy. It's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible, horrible situation to be in. Because you know what they're thinking, and it doesn't help. So people need help. Is all I'm trying to say, Alan. I thank you for your advice.
It's not advice. I was just pointing out that that's there. I'm not giving advice. I'm not qualified to. But Craig, good to hear from you. I hope it gets better. How do Linda?
Hi, Alan.
Hello, Linda.
Just listening to the last caller. I've given people many a time. I've seen people, and I have actually give them £20 or £10, and when I walk away, I think, why not? So I do feel sorry for that guy that's just been on, but sometimes I only give it to them. Do you know what? If they've got a dog with them or something like that, and I actually give it to them for that reason, and when I walk away. But you know what? This is not the reason I rang you for, and do you know what? I also can't remember why I have rang you.
Okay.
I've just been listening to that lad. But I
I don't know what I'm going to say, Alan, to be honest with you. I do feel sorry. I do feel sorry for him. But you know what? I do feel sorry for the lifestyle that they've got. But that's what, you know, when I walk past somebody and go, you know, whatever. So that's all I'm saying. I've come on for the wrong reason, Alan. But I do feel sorry for them, but I also feel sorry for the family and them, but for the dogs as well. So that's me done with, Alan. That's me done with.
That's all right. Well, if you remember what you rang about, feel free to ring again. Have a good night, Linda. I'll do Allison.
Hi, Alan.
Hiya.
Let's talk about that Nicola Bulley. Everyone keeps saying that it's her body that they found in the river. It isn't, because it's not been confirmed yet.
Indeed, and we've said that many times, so we don't know whose body it is, and we'll only find out when the police tell us.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Because even on the news, they said it's not been confirmed yet.
Correct.
That's all I'd like to say.
All right, well, that's good, because I'm fed up of saying it. Every time somebody goes talking about it, we have to say, no. We don't know yet. We'll wait and see. All right. Thank you, Allison. Good on you. I'll do Lenny.
Hey, Alan. I'm just talking about swearing. You don't like swearing on your show, obviously, because it's live. Does swearing offend you?
No.
Why is it a foul language? I think it's an expression. What mood you're in, and you'll never stop it. It starts at school. 1, do you swear?
Yeah.
And then why is it abusive language and behaviour?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't set the morality code. In broadcasting, there are rules about what language is and is not acceptable, and I, like every other broadcaster, is required to follow those rules. And the reasons for them are almost ephemeral. But there are some people listening to this programme now. There's somebody just on accidentally, because he was only using the word in conversation, use the F word, and there will be people who will be hurt by that. They will actually feel emotional pain through hearing that on the radio, because radio is a very, very intimate medium, and it's not my desire or job to allow that hurt to happen. So I don't make the rules for society or broadcasting, but we don't.
I've been done for using the abusive language or behaviour before.
Have you?
My solicitor swore, and the barrister swore, and the policeman swore. So, but also, here's one for you. So you're driving down the A55 tomorrow, and someone cut you up, and nearly wrote you off. You're not going to say naughty person, are you? You're going to swear.
I don't know,
because I don't. It's foul language. Yeah.
I don't tend to swear at other motorists because of the futility of it.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it's around you all day, every day. You go into a shop, might somebody was swearing. It's just natural, and why is it classed as a foul language?
I don't know, Lenny, but I can tell you, when I go into a shop, I don't swear. And when I hear people swearing in shops, having a conversation with each other, swearing, I want to ask them not to.
No, I mean, especially if you went in a pub, you guaranteed...
So you will. But I would prefer not to, which is daft, because I sometimes swear also.
I know, but what it is, I've been brought up. I live on a council estate. A lot of people live on council estates. Just every language, there's always an F word or a B word.
Lenny, I was brought up on a council estate, and I've never heard either of my parents, and they lived to well, my father lived to 93, my mother to 70-odd. I never heard either of them use that word.
Yeah. No,
my mum said bloody a lot, but that was on a council estate. So council estates don't make you swear.
Well, I mean, posh people swear as well.
Exactly.
They swear out more than us, probably.
I've never quantified it, but that's why I was making the point when you said I was brought up on a council estate. That's my excuse for swearing.
No, you usually get it a lot on the council estates, but even posh people swear.
So what you're saying is, why mention council estates? You get it everywhere.
No, because I swear a lot, and I'm used to it, you know what I mean? That's why I'm saying that.
No, you said, I swear a lot, I was brought up on a council estate, linking those two things together. Had you been brought up with Lord Muckface, you might have swore just as much. I've no idea.
No, that's a scenario if you all go swear.
I don't wander about with the same prejudices that you seem to have developed somehow.
No, they all think, like the low-income people swear, and then, but the filthy rich swear.
Who thinks that?
Loads of people.
Well,
I told you, I went to court once, and he goes, "I'm going to do you for using abusive language or behaviour," and I thought that's just normal.
Abusive language or behaviour? It's not normal.
Why is it abusive though? Just to swear, it's a language.
Remember abusive language and behaviour.
No, they call it behaviour, but it was my language. I swore in public at someone.
At someone. So that's where the abuse comes in. Describing Look, Lenny, they didn't take you to court because you were walking past and you were talking to your best mate and you said it was an effing good game we went to last night. Well, right, come with me, Lenny! You actually swore at somebody. You were making a point to them. You were being aggressive towards them. And that's what the court thought. And hard luck. How do Darren? Hello, Darren.
Oh, right. I thought you said Danny. Oh, sorry. How you doing, Lenny? All right. No, I just want to talk about what you thought about, I don't know, it's a bad subject, but what's going on in Ukraine and with Russia, and I don't know if you can have any views on that, I don't know, but yeah, my views are, I know you're going to ask me that, but yeah, my views are it shouldn't be happening. Basically, why should we get involved in a war which is just like Russians against Russians, basically?
Well, we're not involved in the war, but we are supplying weapons to enable somebody to fight the war.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then you keep supplying weapons. It's like supply this, we'll supply this, we'll supply these drones, we'll supply these aircraft, we'll supply these,
Well, you might know that when Hitler decided that Germany was going to expand, he decided that he would expand into a place called Sudetenland. And all the Allies, Britain, France and all the rest of it, decided not to help the people of Sudetenland to fight against Adolf Hitler and Germany. And he marched in and took it over. And that was fine. Well, the next step was Czechoslovakia. Then there was Poland, and then on it went. Eventually they were bombing Britain. So sometimes you help people to fight on their territory so that you don't end up fighting on yours.
He's just taken over his own country.
Well, that's what Hitler said. So, yeah.
Yeah, but in the Czechoslovakia is not Russia, is it?
It's not in Czechoslovakia yet, but Ukraine has never been Russia. It was the Soviet Union.
Yeah, exactly. Soviet Union, that's what
the Soviet Union doesn't exist anymore. It's Russia.
Yes, well that's what Putin wants back.
East Germany was in the Soviet Union, so are we to stand by whilst Russia moves into East Germany?
But Yeah, Ukraine is not part of NATO, is it? So why should
when you ask the question,
why should we get involved in other people's business?
I've no idea, Darren. Not a clue. I thought I knew, and I thought you might like to know when you asked the question, but clearly you don't. So shove off. How do Neil?
Oh, hi, Helen. Yes, there is a couple of comments about job interviews. So it's a recruiter asked a job candidate, how long were you in your last position? And he replied, I'd say my biggest weakness is my listening skills. Bum bum. And then the second one, I love you all, yeah, a koala bear and an elephant apply for the same job. And they both got turned down. And then they got letters later for the reason why he says, your qualifications are completely irrelevant. So I just thought I'd mention that. I know it's a bit sad, but I love you all. Bye-bye, Alan.
Bye-bye. Really glad I got up this morning. How do Mark?
Good morning, Alan.
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, Alan, you know there was a guy on talking about swearing. You were talking about swearing. Right, this is really puzzling me. I don't know whether you know or whether you've read it, but the Roald Dahl children's books, they're changing the words because there's two words in particular, ugly and fat. They've been taken out, reworded. So instead of fat, they're using, instead of ugly, they're using beastly, which I think is worse. I mean, it's just crazy, this. I mean, are we turning into a nanny state, Alan?
In some respects, I suppose we are.
Yes, but I mean, what is wrong with the word ugly or fat? What is wrong with those words?
It depends on whether you're ugly or fat.
No, but come on, Alan. I mean, you could say the war in the Ukraine is an ugly war, or you could say...
Yes, you could, but I suspect that's not the context that people are talking about.
No, but you can't just wrap children in cotton wool and say, right, you can't look at those words. I mean, it's just beyond comprehension. I think it's absolutely crazy. So what are they going to do? Change Shakespeare and Dickens and so on?
Well, yes, they've changed it dozens of times already. Why not some more?
Well, why is it then that, going back to swearing, the four-letter words are still in the Oxford Dictionary today?
Well, the Oxford Dictionary isn't a moral code. It's an explanation as to the meaning of the words in current use in the English language. And those words are current use in the English language. And so they describe them, because it's a dictionary. That's what dictionaries do.
But if we're not allowed to use those words...
No, it isn't a case of you're not allowed to use them. There are certain places where it is not acceptable in society to use them. You're still allowed to use them. The word's not banned.
Right, it's just madness. I mean, they are 17th century words, aren't they? That's when they originated.
Well, I don't know whether they all originated at that time or what proportion of them did. They've been around for a long time, but just because they've been around for a long time doesn't mean they're acceptable. The N-word was around for a very long time, and that is no longer acceptable. It's probably still in the dictionary.
Yes, you could actually go in a shop and buy...
No, we're not going to use that word. We don't need to discuss the word. We're discussing that words remain in dictionaries by way of a dictionary just explains what the word means, but that doesn't mean that they're socially acceptable. And what is and isn't socially acceptable is an ever-changing plane.
Yes, but I just can't understand why the words ugly and fat are bad.
Well, it depends on whether you're described sometimes, occasionally, or not as ugly and fat.
Yeah, but Alan, come on, you sometimes say I'm the little fat red guy.
I'm entitled to use whatever insults, if that's what they be, for myself. and I don't care if others use them, but there are those that are offended by them. So why use them?
Yeah. Well, if I said to a woman, like, forgive me now, but you fat, ugly bitch, I can understand it in that context.
Right.
But what about the ugly duckling?
Well, I feel sure that they're not going to be saying the ugly duckling is banned.
But the word ugly has been taken out of that children's book, so why not take it out of that song?
I don't know. I don't make the rules, but there are some people who think when the word ugly is used, it is used as a term of offence rather than a term of description. And what is ugly anyway? I mean, I'm sure you think you're not ugly, and I've no idea about me, but then I'd have to start to care to find that out.
Well, you're not ugly, Alan. I wouldn't.
You've no idea. I don't care.
No, but would you say then that Joseph Merrick, the elephant man, was ugly? I know it was a shame, but would you describe him as ugly?
I wouldn't, no.
No, he was deformed badly. But what is ugly then?
I don't know, and perhaps one of the reasons it's not being used is because we don't have a definition of it. Because for something to be ugly, it has to have a counterpart of the same type that isn't ugly. And who's the judge?
Yeah, exactly. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? So,
indeed. So when Roald Dahl writes the ugly child, I don't know whether he even did, I don't read Roald Dahl, but when he writes the ugly child, what is he saying? There is the child with a physiognomy that is not acceptable in our society. As if the child had a choice.
I know what you're saying, but I think...
Oh, good. You frequently know what I'm saying, but you never even let it touch you to consider. I mean, I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You're just asking questions to which there is no answer.
No, to say someone is an ugly child is a terrible thing to say, isn't it?
Why?
You wouldn't dare say it, would you?
Why?
You had a friend.
Why?
Well, because ugly is kind of
offensive. It's offensive. Yeah. So should we be teaching children offensive words?
But don't forget, Alan, we went to school as little kids.
We did. So let me ask you the question. Let me ask you the question again to stop you dancing away from it. Okay, you've just agreed that the word ugly, in the context you described, would be offensive. So I then said, why should we teach children offensive words? And you didn't answer. You started telling me something about your history, which I have no interest in. So your question stands. Why should we teach children words that are offensive?
But really, I don't think those two words are offensive.
Except when I asked you the context that you created and put to me, I said, in that context, it's offensive. And you said, yes, you wouldn't use it like that, would you? And I said, that's because it's...
No,
right.
Not in that context.
So in the children's books, when it's describing something or somebody as ugly, is it doing it as a compliment?
No, I think it was an ugly witch, he said.
Right. So is it a compliment?
No, it's not a compliment.
It's not a compliment. So we've established that in the context where you say it's used in that booklet, it's not a compliment. It's descriptive, but it's not complimentary. So it's rude. It's offensive. So I say again, why should we teach children offensive words?
But does that word offend you, ugly?
I'm not a child, and no, it doesn't. But we're not discussing my rules. We're discussing somebody else's rules. And you're saying, I don't know why. And I keep giving you the opportunity to give me descriptions. And when I then ask you about it, you say, yeah, that's offensive. And then you think, well, we should still do it. So I say again, why do you think we should teach children offensive words? It's a simple question. If you don't have an answer, just say so.
Yeah. Well, Alan, these words have been around since.
Let's try again. Let me try again. Why should we teach children offensive words? Now, if your answer is I do not know, then that's fine. But if you're going to talk some bullcrap about history, then you're wasting your breath. You're not talking to a clown. So I say again, why should we teach children offensive words?
We shouldn't.
Right, and the change in the contents of those books is a step in the direction of achieving that.
I think it's wrapping kids in cotton wool, to be honest, because I don't find them offensive.
Well, why don't we teach them all the F words then? They're offensive. It doesn't matter. We don't want to wrap them in cotton wool, do we? Let's not wrap them in cotton wool. Let's have them say, look at the size of that over there. It's effing enormous. Absolutely. Look, miss, there's an effing enormous dog walking across the playground. Oh, shut up, you little twit. That's what we should have in our schools. It doesn't matter. They're only words. They're only words. They've been around for centuries.
No, but come on.
That's the case you're making. Look, you're saying because they don't offend me, Mark, they're okay, which is a stupid argument, but it suits you. Have a good night. How do, Linda?
I am Alan. I am Alan. I've just spoke to you a few minutes ago, actually. But anyway, I came home from church and I used the F word. And this lady told me off. And when I went home, I said to my mum, Mum, this lady's told me the F word. And I said, what does it mean? And she said, it means go away. And do you know what? I'm not, that is what it is, really. And do you know what? I've never, ever used it ever since. But I came home from church and she went, Lynn, obviously, she didn't tell me off, but she said it means go away.
O'clock. This is Adam Porter. The partner of Nicola Bulley, Paul Ansell, has spoken of his agony after a body was discovered in a river near where she went missing. Police say no formal identification has yet taken place. Ms Bulley was last seen 3 weeks ago walking her dog in St Michael's on Wyre in Lancashire. The family has complained about online speculation in the case. And Bob Eastwood, a former chief superintendent who worked in the Lancashire force, says the police's job has been made very difficult.
They've had TikTokers turning up, interfering with the investigation, harassing the residents. They themselves have caused police resources to be deployed to them. You've then had retired police officers making criticism, and the press has been honing in on that. And I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in this country, certainly not in Lancashire.
Senior police officers are to issue a rare joint statement warning that a failure to increase police pay could result in cuts to staff and delays to recruitment. Police chiefs, superintendents and crime commissioners in England and Wales have all signed the declaration, which has been passed to the BBC before publication. Ambulance staff in various parts of England and Wales are staging their latest strike today. Paramedics, emergency care assistants and 999 call handlers, who are members of the GMB and Unite unions, are walking out as part of an ongoing dispute about pay. South Korea and Japan say North Korea has fired 2 ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan. The firing comes a day after the United States and South Korea held a joint military drill in response to a similar launch on Saturday. The German-language film All Quiet on the Western Front has set a new record for winning the most BAFTAs for a film not in English. It picked up 7 awards at the ceremony in London, including Best Film. The Banshees of Inisherin won 4, including Outstanding British Film. Cate Blanchett won Best Actress for playing a conductor accused of abuse in Tar, and Austin Butler won Best Actor for his portrayal of Elvis. He had a special message for the Presley family.
I cannot thank you guys enough for your love and for sharing with me who Elvis truly was. I hope I've made you proud. This means the world to me. Thank you all so much. God bless you.
The sports presenter Dickie Davies has died at the age of 94. For almost 20 years, from 1968 to 1985, he fronted ITV's World of Sport.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Word of Sport. Today we concentrate mainly on athletics and the day's best horse racing.
His former colleague Jim Rosenthal said he'd had a brilliant career on the telly, while the former Sky Sports presenter Richard Keys said he was a legend and it was the end of an era. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 1.